Chapter 830. Billiards. Of course, why? Are you still afraid of that Linny? Jun said in disdain. Since you're not his girlfriend, what does it have to do with him? Plus, I already know, I don't need to force it. We're in Songtan City, I'll give face to your Zo bro. To be honest, Jun didn't put Linny in his eyes at all. What Golden Division Master, Green Division Master? In the eyes of his father's firearm team, wasn't he just trash? Did he need to be so careful with someone who could be killed with one shot? Zhou Rogwang couldn't do anything about Jun's insistence. Luckily, as long as Jun didn't force it, Linny wouldn't blame him. Zhou Rogwang could only protect himself. As for whether Jun could provoke Linny, it was none of Zhou Rogwang's business. They were just cooperating anyway. Linny asked for a pool table, paid the money, and sat quietly on the side, watching Yushu and Mengyao play. Although it was their first time playing billiards, they had also watched some billiards games on TV, so they could imitate the postures and so on. As for the rules, the two of them didn't know much. However, the two of them weren't professionals, so there was no need to play according to the rules. As long as the two of them each had a suit, then they would take turns to play. Whoever hit the ball of their suit into the hole first would be the winner. Jun looked at Mengyao and Yushu who were playing pool and his heart itched. He thought of a way to strike up a conversation and walked over. Two beauties, do you need a pool coach? Jun tried his best to make his smile look more sincere. He could tell from the sidelines that both Mengyao and Yushu were noobs at billiards. It was their first time playing the game, after all. That was why he'd come up with this method. Mengyao looked up at Jun indifferently. She was curious. Didn't he see what happened to the red hair? How dare you come over to strike up a conversation? Yushu, on the other hand, didn't think too much about it. She was having fun and scored a few balls by luck. She was displeased when Jun interrupted her. She frowned and waved her hand. I'm good, I don't need you to teach me. Jun didn't give up and continued to introduce himself. I'm Jun, the Vice President of Donghai City's Billiards Association. I've won many awards in the billiards competitions in the province. Oh? Yushu froze and looked at Jun before turning to Mengyao. Yao sis, what did he say? He said that he's really handsome. Mengyao was a little speechless. How could someone with such a big face say that he was handsome the first time they met? Did this guy have any shame? Handsome? He doesn't look that handsome. He's not even as handsome as Shield Bro. Yushu looked at Jun carefully, and waved her hand impatiently. Hey, move away, don't get in my way. Jun was enraged. How dare these two girls ignore him? In the billiard scene in the province, how many people didn't know of Jun's name? However, he suddenly remembered that it was their first time playing billiards, so it was normal that they didn't know his name. He suppressed his anger and continued. My name is Jun, not because I'm really handsome. Oh, I see. At least you know your place. But if that's the case, why don't you change your name to Junnanan? Yushu asked curiously. Ahem. Let's not talk about that, let's talk about billiards first. Jun was unhappy. Even if I'm not really handsome, I'm not really ugly. With my looks, I'm one of the most handsome guys out there, right? He didn't want to talk about this topic anymore and changed the topic back to billiards. Billiards shouldn't be played like this, it should be played like this. Aya, you're so annoying. Yushu was annoyed that Jun was making a fuss beside her. I'm the queen of billiards, do I need you to teach me? Stop being a nuisance. You're not good enough to teach me? How am I good enough? Jun was angered by Yushu's words. He wasn't stupid. Since So Rogwang said that Linny was good, he wouldn't provoke Linny openly. After all, he was alone and wasn't a match for Linny. So, he maintained a normal attitude when hitting on girls. He didn't want to force himself like red hair. I'm the vice president of Donghai City's Billiards Association. Oh, there are many vice presidents who lost to me. Yushu really felt that Jun was a little annoying. She knew what he was thinking, but he was gentle in his approach, so Yushu couldn't do anything to him. What? Jining Jun was infuriated by Yushu. He thought that he was very good at billiards. Although he came here to pick up girls, how could he be willing to accept someone insulting his best skill? In Daohai City's Billiards Association, he was the center of attention. Now that he was here, a beginner dared to talk to him like that. It was a huge insult. Fine, do you dare to compete with me? Jining Jun suppressed his anger and asked Yushu. Why should I compete with you? Yushu asked back. You. Jining Jun was speechless. Yushu's question was hard for him to answer. That's right, why did Yushu want to compete with him? Alright, don't interrupt me. Yushu didn't bother with Jining Jun anymore. She waved her hand and continued to play with Meng Yao. Lin Yi saw all of this, but Lin Yi didn't intervene. Although Jining Jun showed his bad intentions towards Yushu and Meng Yao, he didn't do anything over the line. So, Lin Yi didn't have to step in. Meng Yao and Yushu could deal with this kind of situation by themselves. If Lin Yi had to handle everything himself, even something as simple as this, then Meng Yao and Yushu would really be like flowers in a greenhouse, and it wouldn't be good for their growth at all. He had to leave eventually. He couldn't protect them forever, could he? Although Lin Yi had the urge to protect these two beauties for the rest of their lives, Lin Yi knew the difference between ideals and reality. Let's not talk about whether Tang Yun would agree or not. Even if Tang Yun agreed, he couldn't let her live with Miss and Yushu, right? Then, he could bring the old man over? Live happily together as a family? Live a carefree life from now on? Chapter 831. The billiards ball. However, Yushu and Meng Yao's way of dealing with the problem wasn't right. Angering the enemy wasn't the way to solve the problem. Was it because he was with Yushu that he was fearless? Lin Yi always thought that Yushu wasn't an idiot. Instead, she was very smart. Yushu might have angered Jining Jun because he was with her. 10,000 yuan for a match. Do you dare? Jining Jun was enraged that his proudest skill was ignored. But we didn't bring that much money. We can't compete with you, Yushu said regretfully. I don't need your money. If you lose, you just have to admit that I'm good at billiards and learn from me. Jining Jun wasn't stupid. He didn't say something stupid like sleeping with him if they lost. He thought that he had to do it step by step. Oh? Yushu thought about it, and felt that it was a good deal. She turned to Meng Yao. Yao sis, are we going to compete with him? Compete with what? Are you confident that you can win? Meng Yao wasn't confident that she could win against Jining Jun. Jining Jun said that he was good at billiards and he probably wasn't bragging. So, Meng Yao didn't plan to compete with him at all. I don't know. Yushu thought about it and agreed. The two of them might not be able to beat Jining Jun alone. However, they already boasted before, and if they didn't compete now, they might be afraid of Jining Jun. She raised her head and looked at Lin Yi. Shield bro, will we win? Probably. Lin Yi shrugged. Alright, we'll compete with you. But Yao sis and I will compete with you. If we win, you have to give us 10,000 yuan each. Yushu heard Lin Yi's words and thought that Lin Yi was completely confident. She nodded and accepted Jining Jun's challenge. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He hadn't even finished his sentence. He wanted to say, maybe not. But Yushu interrupted him. Sure, no problem. To Jining Jun, money wasn't a problem. How do you want to compete? Snooker? What's snooker? Yushu didn't understand. It's just a way to play billiards. Jining Jun sneered in his heart. You don't even know what snooker is and you dare to compete with me? Wasn't that courting death? Oh, you want to compete with me? Naturally, you want to see how I play. Yushu, on the other hand, didn't seem to mind. Our way of playing is that we each have a different suit, and whoever loses their ball first wins. Is that so? Jining Jun thought. This was similar to billiards, but there were no rules of adding or subtracting points. But it didn't matter, he could easily win against these two girls this way. Sure, we'll play the way you want us to play. As the saying goes, an expert will know once he makes his move. Although Meng Yao and Yushu didn't like Jining Jun, he had good skills. As soon as the game started, Jun scored all the balls in his suit without any suspense. Meng Yao and Yushu only scored one ball, and it was by luck. How is it? Jun didn't think that he would win so easily. These two were obviously rookies. They didn't have any skills at all, and were just playing randomly. It's always best of 3, you only won 1, what's there to be proud of? Yushu was dumbfounded. Didn't Shield Bros say that she could win? How did she lose? He couldn't help but turn to Linny anxiously. Sure, best of 3 then. Jun didn't mind. With Meng Yao and Yushu's skills, they would definitely lose even if they played 100 rounds. He didn't care if he won 1 or 2 rounds. He felt that he had the victory in his hands and he wanted these two girls to accept their defeat wholeheartedly. For the next round, I will play 1 round and you two can play 1 round each. As long as the two of you hit your suit into the bag, it'll be your victory. After winning 1 round, Jun knew Meng Yao and Yushu's true skills, so he didn't mind bragging. Okay. Yushu didn't have much confidence this time. She hoped that Lenny could help her turn the tables. But Lenny didn't appear in the end, so she lost without a doubt. Lenny had no choice but to walk over and place his hands on the table. What are you doing? Jun didn't think that Lenny would suddenly intervene. He had always been a gentleman and didn't use force, so why did Lenny want to interfere? Nothing, I'm just here to watch, Lenny said indifferently. What? Can I watch you guys play? I want to see if you cheated. Sure. Go ahead, watch as you like. Jun heard that Lenny only wanted to watch and Lenny said that he wanted to see if he cheated, so Jun ignored Lenny. What could he see? Moreover, if he chased him away, it would look like he cheated. Before, Jun thought that Lenny wanted to replace Meng Yao or Yushu, and he wouldn't agree because he didn't know how good Lenny was. Who knew if he was a master of pool or not? How could he let Lenny ruin the beauty he was about to get? However, Lenny didn't want to interfere and Jun didn't care anymore. He said to Meng Yao and Yushu, You guys can start first, I'll give you 3 shots. Normally, a master of pool could hit a ball into the pocket at the start, but Meng Yao and Yushu obviously couldn't as they didn't have the skills yet. So, they couldn't gain any advantage at the start. However, Jun already said that he would give Meng Yao and Yushu 3 shots. That way, each of them would get 3 shots and it would be 6 shots. It was a lot and it showed how arrogant Jun was. Bang! Yushu kicked the ball off, sending it flying all over the table, but not a single ball went into the pocket. Then, it was Meng Yao's turn. She also aimed at a ball of her own color and hit it, but due to the problem of accuracy and strength, the distance between the ball and the pocket was very far away. It was Yushu's turn next, but Yushu's light shot didn't make the ball go into the hole, but it did make the ball bounce around on the table like it was alive. Chapter 832. Once I do, you're done. However, although Jun, Meng Yao, and Yushu were confused, the cue ball that Yushu's cue ball hit didn't show any signs of stopping. It was as if it had a motor installed on it as it continued to spin on the table. Although the ball didn't go into the hole, it knocked the other balls into the hole. Some of them were Yushu's and some were Jun's. Yushu and Jun didn't know what was going on. Jun had played billiards for so many years and he had never seen something like this. How was this a billiards ball? It was a bouncy ball. No matter how strong the player was, it was impossible to achieve such an effect, wasn't it? Meng Yao, too, was a little surprised as she looked at the disobedient ball on the table. She then looked up at Yushu, noticing the excitement on Yushu's face as well. Meng Yao understood that this wasn't Shu's doing at all. They'd been sisters for years, and Meng Yao could tell what Yushu was thinking just by looking at their expressions. She couldn't see through them completely, but she could at least tell what they were thinking on the surface. She turned back to Linny and saw Linny's bitter smile. Meng Yao was slightly taken aback and her heart skipped a beat. Could it be Lin Yi's doing? Shu had been playing for so long, and she didn't manage to hit a bouncy ball like this. Did Lin Yi do it as soon as he came? Meng Yao's face fell into deep thought at the thought of this. Meng Yao was right, it was Lin Yi's doing. Lin Yi didn't have much confidence in helping Meng Yao and Yushu win. He was just experimenting. The first thing that came to Lin Yi's mind was the strange, pure qi in his body, the energy that Jiao Lao mentioned. Since this energy was omnipotent, could it be transferred to the pool ball? According to the law of conservation of energy, energy couldn't be created out of thin air, nor would it disappear out of thin air. It could only be changed from one form to another or transferred from one object to another. In the process of transformation or transfer, the total amount of energy remained the same. In other words, the energy in Lin Yi's body could be converted into the energy needed by the pool ball. Of course, the energy in Lin Yi's body wouldn't be created out of thin air. No master's pure qi would be created out of thin air. Their vital energy came from the natural world's spiritual qi, and the mantra they cultivated was a method to convert the spiritual qi into their own vital energy. They completed the process of converting the energy in nature into energy in their body. Lin Yi's energy, on the other hand, came entirely from the jade space. Lin Yi converted the energy in the jade space into his own energy. And so, after Yushu had moved the ball, Lin Yi decided to try and see if his energy could be used on the ball. With both hands on the table, he started channeling the art of dragon mastery, and as if it had been injected with chicken blood, the ball suddenly exploded with a small universe of energy. It worked. However, it was Lin Yi's first time doing this, and he didn't control the amount of energy he sent out. In just an instant, the amount of energy was over. How much energy could a small pool ball use up? Just a little bit was enough. If Lin Yi used too much, the pool ball would move endlessly. However, although the experiment was a failure, Lin Yi had proven that it was possible. What was even more surprising was that his energy would only be used on objects that were currently consuming energy. The other stationary billiard balls and billiard tables on the billiard table would not absorb energy. The other pool balls that were moved by the elastic ball didn't absorb any energy because Lin Yi stopped the chant a long time ago. Therefore, the energy was only used on this pool ball. Oh my God, I'm so awesome! I can even hit this kind of ball! I'm such a genius! Yushu exclaimed after the shock. I'm a genius, Shu, I'm so good at everything. Impossible! How is this possible? This doesn't make sense. Is there something wrong with the ball? Jun didn't believe that Yushu could hit the ball like this. Even professional pool players wouldn't be able to hit an elastic ball like this. It was unbelievable. You haven't seen it before, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. Yushu looked at Jun in disdain. I already said that it's easy for me to defeat you. I let you win the last round, but this time you're dead. If you're not convinced, you can hit a ball like this for everyone to see. Yushu's amazing ball attracted most of the players in the billiard room. They had never seen such a powerful ball before. It bounced back and forth on the table for more than a minute and showed no signs of stopping. As everyone exclaimed in shock, they also felt that it was unbelievable. The person who could hit such a ball was definitely a master among masters. Jiningjuan's face turned green from anger, but he couldn't refute her because he really couldn't hit such a ball. Jiningjun curled his lips and said unhappily, It's just luck, why don't you hit another one for me? Why should I hit another one? If I hit a ball like this, all the balls that belong to you will be in your pocket. Am I not helping you? Yushu wasn't sure if she could hit another ball like this. She seemed confident, but she was just making things up. She was also guessing if Shield Bro was helping her, so she wouldn't be too sure. If I hit another one, I'll win and you have to admit defeat. That's more like it. Although Jun didn't believe that Yushu could hit another ball like this, he didn't dare to make a promise. What if Yushu hit another one? Wouldn't he have to admit defeat then? Seeing everyone watching, Zhou Ruoguang also wanted to go over and see what was going on, but he backed off after one look. Holy shit, you can play billiards like this? He had been running this entertainment center for many years and was a master of billiards, but he had never seen a ball like this. This wasn't billiards at all, it was a miracle. This could only happen if Hayashi Lin was here. He and his father had been living under Lin Yi's shadow and thought that Lin Yi was omnipotent. Therefore, Zhou Ruoguang felt that it was normal for something like this to happen. Chapter 833. She hit the ball away. As a result, Yushu was very excited. She had the upper hand now. After Yushu was done, it was Mingyao's turn. Lin Yi controlled the amount of energy he used, and other than using a little more strength, there was nothing wrong with Mingyao's shot. Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief. It was easier to use the energy. It was Yushu's turn again, but the previous situation didn't happen again. It was still an ordinary shot, which made Jin Yingjun heave a sigh of relief. It seemed like Yushu hit it out of sheer luck. Otherwise, she would probably hit it again. It was finally Jin Yingjun's turn. Jin Yingjun was delighted. Judging from the situation on the table, he would definitely win in one shot. With his skills, this was a piece of cake. Jin Yingjun calmly found his first target. He bent down and pushed the cue out elegantly. The moment Jin Yingjun's cue hit the cue ball, Lin Yi transferred his energy over. In the end, Jin Yingjun's cue ball flew out from the table like a rocket. He hit a beautiful jump ball. Before the crowd could react, the cue ball smashed into the face of a bystander. Blood gushed out from his nose and 2 of his front teeth fell out. The man groaned in pain and widened his eyes as he pointed at Jin Yingjun. "You motherfucker, don't you have eyes? Where are you hitting? You even knocked my front teeth loose. I'm sorry. Although Jin Yingjun was usually arrogant, he knew that he was in Songshan and it wasn't his territory, Donghai. It wasn't wise to cause trouble here. Moreover, he was hitting on girls in a civilized manner, and he couldn't be too violent. He took out his wallet apologetically and took out 3,000 yuan to give to the man. "This is your medical fee, consider it my compensation to you." The man was also jobless. He didn't have a job and his eyes lit up when he saw the 3,000 yuan. He took Jin Yingjun's money and stopped complaining. He covered his mouth and stood on the side. Jin Yingjun didn't have time to waste with these people. His main goal was to defeat Yushu and Mengyao and prove that he could teach them, so he spent the money to avoid trouble. How unlucky! Jin Yingjun thought to himself. He was too impatient and accidentally used too much strength, resulting in a jump ball. However, this jump ball wasn't something an ordinary person could hit. He had accidentally hit one, and it was still very awesome. It seemed like he was too careless and didn't control his strength properly, causing this situation. He had to be more serious next time. "Alright, it's my turn." Yushu waited for Jin Yingjun to make a fool out of himself before putting another cue ball on the table, ready to start. Yushu aimed at a ball and hit it. One had to admit, however, that Yushu's angle was pretty good. The cue ball bumped into one of Yushu's balls and pushed it out. It looked like it was about to enter a pocket, but it didn't have enough strength. The ball lost its momentum when it reached the edge of the pocket. Go! 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 Yushu panicked. The ball was moving slower and slower and was about to stop at the edge of the pocket. Lin Yi smiled and injected some energy into the ball. Then, the ball that was about to stop suddenly shot into the pocket as if it was stimulated. Huh! Jin Yingjun was proud and was ready to teach Yushu about the strength needed to hit the ball. Looking at the ball in front of him, it would fall into the pocket if she used a little more strength. However, Yushu's strength wasn't good enough, which caused the current situation. However, Jin Yingjun didn't expect Yushu's ball to suddenly run into the pocket before it stopped. What was going on? Did someone do something to it? But that couldn't be. There were so many people gathered around the table, and if Yushu were to do something, the others would have noticed it. Even if the others couldn't, he'd been staring at the ball the whole time. How could he not notice? Wahahaha! Yushu danced happily when she saw the ball fall into the pocket. I told you I'm the goddess of pool, Shu. Look, it's a waste of strength if I use more or less strength if I use less. It's perfect now, no more, no less. Mengyao felt that something was wrong. Jin Yingjun was a master of pool. How could he suddenly hit such an unimaginable ball? He even beat up the spectators who were watching from the side? Yushu's ball was about to stop, but it suddenly moved again and ran into the pocket. Meng Yao couldn't help but suspect that it was Lin Yi's doing. Although she didn't know how Lin Yi did it, she knew how amazing Lin Yi was. Your ball is actually quite dangerous. Jun could only say this. It was a little dangerous. You should use more strength next time. More strength? Like you, hitting someone's face? Yushu glanced at Jun and asked back. Huh! Jun's face turned red as Yushu mocked him. He gritted his teeth, humphed and didn't say anything else. It was Meng Yao's turn, and she did it casually. It was her first time playing pool, after all, and she didn't have any skills at all. She knew that Lin Yi was helping her, so she knew that he'd make a move at the right time. Meng Yao's ball, on the other hand, had no chance of going into the hole, but it did bump into another ball in the middle of its motion, and this ball happened to be of the same color as Meng Yao's. Judging from the trajectory of the ball, Lin Yi believed that it could go into the hole, and so he injected some energy into the first ball after it stopped. The second ball was about the same as Yushu's, and it was about to run out of energy, but it kept moving until it went into the pocket. Chapter 834. Chapter 834. Genius Shu. The billiards room was opened by Zhou Ruoguang, and Meng Yao and Yushu were just guests. It was impossible for the table to be the problem. Cold sweat appeared on Jun's face as he thought about this. He was a superstitious person, and when he saw such an unbelievable scene, he subconsciously thought that there was something unclean behind this. Was there something unclean that was causing trouble? Meng Yao was a little doubtful as well. She couldn't quite believe that she'd hit the ball herself. She turned her eyes from the table to Lin Yi's face, trying to figure out what was going on, but Lin Yi was still as calm and unruffled as ever. Both his hands were on the table, as if he hadn't done anything at all. However, although Lin Yi didn't seem suspicious on the surface, Meng Yao knew that Lin Yi was actually very suspicious. Yay! Yao sis is amazing too! You're on par with me, Genius Shu! Yushu shouted excitedly. Jun's face darkened. He didn't believe it. As the vice president of Donghai City's Billiards Association, how could he lose to two beginners? Seeing that there were only 3 balls left on Meng Yao's side, Jun couldn't help but panic. He couldn't let Meng Yao and Yushu score again. Luckily, they set a rule that each person played 1 shot, and there was no such thing as consecutive shots. No matter if they scored or not, they wouldn't hit consecutively. It was Jun's turn. This time, he didn't dare to be careless. He didn't think much of it before and hit a jump ball. He remembered that he didn't use much strength. Could it be that he was absent-minded? This time, Jun carefully used his normal strength to hit the cue ball. However, the cue ball flew out again with a whoosh. It turned into a jump ball and smashed towards the person on the opposite side. Bang! This time, it didn't hit anyone's face but a muscular man's chest. The muscular man yelped in pain and clutched his chest. He pointed at Jun furiously. You little bastard, do you even know how to play basketball? Did you do it on purpose? You hit someone else and now you want to hit me? Do you have eyes? Jun was dumbfounded. When did he become so strong? It was just a normal shot. How did it become a jump ball? Fly out and hit someone else again? But he really didn't use much strength. This? Jun didn't know what happened. He felt like he didn't use much strength. What happened? What? You dared to do it, but you don't dare to admit it? You're not going to say anything? The muscular man said. Jun glanced at the muscular man and thought, if you're like this, I'll find someone to kill you in Donghai City. How dare you act so arrogantly in front of me? But this was Songzhan, and he didn't want to cause trouble. He frowned and cursed his bad luck. He took out his wallet and counted out another 3,000 kwai, handing it to the muscular man. I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. This is the medical fee, that's more like it. The muscular man wanted money as well. He was thick-skinned and his injuries were much lighter than the guy who got hit in the face. There were only some bruises and it wasn't a problem at all. But he saw that Jun already spent money to get out of trouble. How could he let go of this chance to extort money from him? Okay, it's my turn again. Yushu excitedly took another cue ball and placed it on the table. You're really good. You can hit such a difficult ball twice in a row. Amazing! It's all right, Jun said unhappily. You can't even hit it when I asked you to. I won't even if I can. If I hit someone else, I have to pay for it. Yushu pouted and looked at Jun in disdain. Humph! If you can hit it, I'll pay for it if you hurt someone else. Jun didn't believe that Yushu could hit a jump ball. That was simply impossible. Really? If I hit someone, you'll pay? Yushu asked. Yes, it's a jump ball. It's impossible to hit it without years of billiards experience. In order to save his face, Jun could only say that his mistake was a professional skill. Okay, since it's a jump ball, I can't hit anything else. If I hit a jump ball, you have to pay for it, Yushu said. How about it? Sure. No problem. As long as you hit a jump ball, I'll pay for it. Jun didn't believe that Yushu could hit a jump ball at all. But what if you can't hit it? Then, I'll take out one of my balls. Yushu thought about it and said. She wasn't afraid that she couldn't hit a jump ball because she didn't believe that Jun hit the two jump balls himself. To her, it must be Shield Bro's doing. If he could hit it, she could do it too. So, she didn't mind making a bet with Jun. Okay, it's a deal. Go ahead. Jun was pleased with himself. You can't hit a jump ball even if you die of exhaustion. I'm a kind person and I can't bear to hit an innocent person. How about this, I aim at you. Yushu aimed the cue ball at Jun's direction. Humph, whatever you want. It's better if you hit me, you don't have to pay for it. Jun said indifferently. How could he believe that Yushu could hit him? Unless she threw it with her hands, it was impossible to hit it with a cue stick. Yushu didn't say anything else and aimed at Jun. She hit the cue ball. With a whoosh, the cue ball flew up again and smashed towards Jun's face. Jun didn't expect Yushu to hit a jump ball, so he didn't dodge. When he realized something was wrong, it was already too late. The cue ball hit his head with a loud bang, smashing a door on his head. He was so dizzy that he almost fell down. Ah! Jun screamed. Impossible! Impossible! This isn't real! You can't hit a jump ball! All the onlookers burst into laughter. Jun was too dumb, wasn't he? If you can hit it, why can't others do it? What's wrong with you? You finally tasted the consequences of your arrogance? A big bump appeared on his head. This person really deserved it. Chapter 835. Young Master Jun regrets. Oh, I hit it. I won, right? All right, I've scored a goal. Yushu didn't think that she'd actually be able to hit a jump ball, either. She was just giving it a try. Whether she succeeded or not depended on Shield Bro's strength. But now, it seemed like Shield Bro was really good. With that, Yushu picked up a pool ball of her own design and tossed it into the bag. Jun took a deep breath. He wasn't willing to give up, but he couldn't do anything about it. He had boasted before, but he couldn't say that he was unlucky and Yushu won the game. Okay, it's my turn now. Jun took a deep breath. This time, he couldn't make any mistakes, otherwise, he would really lose this game. Yushu only had 2 balls left in her suit. If it was any other time, Jun wouldn't take it seriously. They were just beginners and he could win no matter what. But it was different now. The game was a little strange. Previously he had hit 2 jump balls. Logically speaking, he did not use much strength. Could it be that the cue ball was too light? Jun couldn't figure it out, but since he couldn't figure it out, he decided to use less strength this time. Jun aimed at a ball of his color and hit the cue ball. Linny also felt that Jun used less strength, so Linny used less energy. This time, Jun's cue ball didn't fly out of the table, but it still skipped over his target ball and flew into the pocket. Huh! Jin Ingjun was speechless. This time, he purposely used less strength, but he still hit a jump ball? But this time, he didn't hurt anyone and hit his cue ball into the pocket. At least he didn't need to lose money and get scolded. However, Jin Ingjun's face didn't look too good. He made a fool of himself again. Wow, you're so cool! You actually hit your own ball into the pocket? Are you colorblind? Yushu looked at Jin Ingjun in surprise. Humph! I just didn't control my strength well. It won't happen next time. Jin Ingjun humphed coldly. He didn't want to argue with Yushu. The more he tried, the more guilty he would seem. Jin Ingjun wanted to prove it to Yushu with his strength. There was no penalty when playing with Yushu. No matter if he hit the cue ball into the pocket or hit it into the pocket, there wouldn't be a penalty, so it was Yushu's turn. Yushu, too, realized that Shield Bro couldn't change the trajectory of the balls, only the strength of the balls. She wasn't confident that she'd be able to aim at the pocket with the two balls on her side, so she decided to throw the cue ball a certain distance away so that she could aim at the other two balls. Lin Yi saw that Yushu didn't aim at his ball, so he hit the cue ball into the other two balls. Lin Yi to Yushu, Lin Yi, Yushu, Lin Yi, Yushu. Lin Yi, from the current angle, Meng Yao could easily hit the ball in front of the cue ball into the pocket as long as she aimed. Meng Yao already guessed that Lin Yi was helping her, and it seemed like Shun knew it too. Otherwise, she wouldn't have hit the cue ball into the pocket. Without Lin Yi's help, Yushu wouldn't be able to control her strength so well and stop the cue ball at the required position. Even without Lin Yi's help, Meng Yao could easily hit one of her balls into the pocket. After Meng Yao, it was Jin Ingjun's turn. Jin Ingjun was a little nervous. His opponent only had one ball left, but he still had a few balls on his side. This time, Jin Ingjun didn't dare to use too much strength. After he aimed at his ball, he used a smaller amount of strength to hit the cue ball out. However, it was still a jump ball this time. Jin Ingjun was going crazy. How was this possible? Why was every ball he hit a jump ball? The cue ball jumped up and with a bang, it hit the ball that Jin Ingjun was aiming at. The ball spun a few times before stopping. This time, Jin Ingjun did hit the ball he was aiming at, but because of the wrong direction, the ball didn't hit the pocket at all. What the F***ck, this is weird! Jin Ingjun cursed. He couldn't believe it. Did his strength suddenly increase by leaps and bounds? He didn't have much strength, but why did he hit the ball with so much strength? What was going on? Meng Yao and Yushu only had one ball left. Yushu used her old strategy and hit the cue ball to a position that was convenient for Meng Yao to aim at and let Meng Yao hit it. This time, Meng Yao used less strength because she was nervous. However, with Lin Yi's energy replenishment, the last ball fell into the pocket smoothly. Meng Yao obviously felt that she didn't use enough strength, but the ball seemed to have enough strength and ran into the pocket on its own. Meng Yao thought that it was Lin Yi's trick again. Oh, you won, right? See? You call yourself a professional player and you want to teach us how to play? Look at yourself. Yushu looked at Jin Ingjun proudly. You think you're so great just because you can hit a few jump balls? Not only can I hit jump balls, I can also hit bouncy balls. Isn't there another round? We won once each, it's just a tie now. How could Jin Ingjun admit defeat? He felt that he didn't perform well in the second round, and it wasn't Yushu's skill at all. Fine, let's have another round then. I'll make you admit defeat. With Lin Yi's help, Yushu wasn't afraid of losing at all. Are you going to let us have 3 balls again? No, I underestimated you before. I can't let you have 3 balls again. Jin Ingjun didn't dare to let Yushu have 3 balls again. Yushu looked like a beginner, but her luck was surprisingly good. He was afraid that Yushu would score a few more goals by accident. Not only can you not give the ball away, but you can only play one of you, not both of you, Lin Yi said. Chapter 836. A small universe explosion. You want to go back on your word? Yushu looked at Jin Ingjun and asked. I'm not going back on my word. I was just being humble before, But the third round is the deciding round, so I can't be humble anymore, Jiningjun argued. Ha! The crowd burst into laughter. Wasn't he going back on his word? Jiningjun thought that Jiningjun was a beginner, so he lied. Now that he saw that Jiningjun was good, he didn't want to be humble anymore. He was obviously going back on his word. Why wasn't he? Jiningjun's face turned red from the laughter, but for the sake of his reputation, he didn't care if they laughed at him. Otherwise, as the vice president of Donghai City's Billiards Association, he would be humiliated to death if he was defeated by two unknown beginners. If the news got out, he would be laughed at by everyone he knew. So, it was only a small humiliation today, but it was better than a big one. Meng Yao and Yushu were also a little angry. This person obviously saw through their plan, and it was impossible for one person to move the cue ball and one person to play. Oh, since you changed the rules, I'll change it too. Otherwise, it won't be fair. Yushu rolled her eyes and thought of a good idea. What rules do you want to change? Jiningjun asked. This time, we don't care about the suit. Whoever hits more balls into the pocket wins. What do you think? Yushu said. Sure, are you sure you agree with what I said before? Jiningjun froze. What's the point of Yushu's change? Even if he didn't allow Yushu to move the cue ball and Meng Yao continued to play with no suit, it would only make it easier for them to find the target. It didn't matter, right? However, Jiningjun thought that Yushu's suggestion was the next best thing. They didn't need to move the cue ball to find their suit, they could just play directly. But did she really think that they could get the ball into the pocket? Agreed. Who's going first? Yushu nodded in agreement. I'll go first. I've let you guys win 2 rounds, it's time for me to start. Jiningjun stood up and got ready to start. The crowd looked down on Jiningjun even more. He arrogantly gave the ball to Jiningjun because he thought that Jiningjun was a beginner and was easy to bully. Now that he realized that Jiningjun was strong, he didn't give the ball to him anymore. What a shameless person. Since Jiningjun used too much strength in the previous 2 shots, he decided to use less strength this time as long as he didn't hit a jump ball. It was more advantageous for him now as he could hit a pool ball at the start of the game. Jiningjun reduced the strength he used before and hit the ball out. He thought that it should be normal with the strength he used this time, right? The result was within Jiningjun's expectations. The cue ball didn't fly out, and it wasn't a jump ball this time either. However, the cue ball only moved a small distance forward before it stopped. Huh! Jiningjun was dumbfounded. What happened? Why did the cue ball stop moving? Could it be that he had used too little strength this time? Impossible, it was just a little bit smaller than before. Why was there such a huge difference? He hit a jump ball before and the cue ball only moved a few centimeters forward this time. Jiningjun rubbed his eyes to check if he was hallucinating. However, he wasn't. Linny didn't help him this time and didn't give him extra energy. He only used his original strength. With his strength, he could only hit the cue ball this far. Ha 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 ha! Yushu burst into laughter. She pointed at the cue ball and laughed until her stomach hurt. I let you go first, why are you acting like I didn't even hit it? I just missed! Jiningjun's face turned red but he didn't know what happened. Missed? Yushu obviously didn't believe Jiningjun's explanation but she didn't say anything. She stood beside the billiard table and said to Jiningjun, Okay, I'm going to finish it in 1 shot. Finish it in 1 shot? Jiningjun froze. How was that possible? He quickly asked. Isn't there a rule for consecutive shots? I didn't say that I'm going to finish it in 1 shot. If I hit an elastic ball, wouldn't I finish it in 1 shot? Yushu looked at Jiningjun as if she was looking at an idiot. Jiningjun was dumbfounded. He finally understood what Yushu meant when she said there was no difference in colors. She wanted to hit another elastic ball. Since the elastic ball was too unbelievable, Jiningjun never thought that Yushu would be able to do it again. When Yushu said that she wanted to change the rules, he didn't think about it. Now, he finally understood what Yushu wanted to do. However, Could she really hit another elastic ball? Jun didn't believe it. After all, the elastic ball was beyond the scope of billiard knowledge. It was possible for Yushu to hit a jump ball, but even a world-class professional billiard player might not be able to hit an elastic ball. You can hit another elastic ball? Jun asked in disbelief. I don't know if I can or not, but I guess I can try. Yushu blinked her eyes and raised her hands. Shield bro, please give me strength. Meng Yao couldn't hold back her laughter, and Lin Yi was speechless as well. Fortunately for them, they didn't know what Yushu was talking about. They thought that she was chanting some sort of encouragement, since they all knew that some athletes would yell out some sort of incomprehensible chant before they made a move. Weightlifters, for example, would yell out some sort of encouragement right before they lifted the barbell. Yushu hit the cue ball, but the cue ball was nothing out of the ordinary, stopping after hitting a random billiard ball. Just when everyone thought that Yushu wouldn't be able to hit the bouncy ball again, and Jun heaved a sigh of relief, the ball that was hit by the cue ball exploded like a mini-universe. It was suddenly filled with energy and quickly collided on the table. The elastic ball was born again. Chapter 837. Can only admit defeat. The situation on the table was that not only was the ball hit by Yushu a bouncy ball, but all the balls that were hit by the bouncy ball turned into bouncy balls as well. They bounced back and forth on the table until they fell into the pocket. This was also why Lin Yi was afraid that there was only one bouncy ball. What if he accidentally fell into the pocket? Therefore, he kept injecting energy into the table so that all the moving balls could continue to move until they fell into the pocket and were forced to stop. For a moment, all the billiard balls on the billiard table fell into a state of frenzy. It was like a pinball game in a video game. Everyone present was taken aback. Impossible! This is impossible! This doesn't make sense! It doesn't follow the law of conservation of energy. Although Jun was arrogant, he wasn't an idiot. On the contrary, he knew a lot of things and wasn't an idiot young master. The situation in front of him was too unbelievable and he couldn't help but roar. Everyone look, is this possible? Do you think this makes sense? However, after Jun finished his words, the audience looked at him as if he was an idiot. What did he mean by possible? It happened right in front of your eyes and you're still asking if it's possible? Are you lying with your eyes open? How is it possible? Seeing is believing. Are you blind? The hoodlum who got his teeth smashed said unhappily. He got the same compensation as the hoodlum who got his chest smashed. He was unhappy, so he purposely made things difficult for Jun. That's right, there are all kinds of strange things in the world. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's impossible. He can hit a bouncy ball. Are you convinced? Another person chimed in. Isn't that right? Just because you can't doesn't mean others can't. What a frog at the bottom of a well! Someone spoke up, and more people chimed in. You! Jun almost fainted from anger. Wah! I'm so mad! What do you know? You're all illiterate, these balls don't exist. Don't exist? Being called illiterate, the audience was immediately unhappy. I think you're already having mental hallucinations, right? The truth is right in front of your eyes, but you insist that it doesn't exist. Sigh, you've become a fool at such a young age. What a pity! Jun watched as the balls on the table decreased, but there was nothing he could do. Although he didn't know what was going on, he couldn't find any loopholes. After all, no one touched the balls on the table. Even if someone did, Jun didn't think that this person could control every ball and make them move continuously. Who? Jun let out a long breath. He knew that he would be embarrassing himself if he stayed in the billiards hall any longer. He would definitely lose this round and there was no chance for him to make a comeback. He hadn't even hit the ball yet, and all the balls on the table were going to turn into bouncy balls. He would definitely lose if he waited any longer. So, Jun admitted defeat right away. I lost, it's just 20,000 yuan. I'll give it to you. Jun was also happy. If he reneged now, it would damage his reputation. If these people spread the news that the vice president of Donghai City's Billiards Association reneged after losing, he wouldn't be able to face anyone anymore. Jun opened his wallet and realized that he didn't have enough money. He turned to Zhou Ruoguang, who wasn't far behind him, and said, "Zhou bro, lend me 20,000 yuan first, I'll give it back to you later." Zhou Ruoguang didn't dare to disobey and quickly took out 20,000 yuan from the bar counter and passed it to Jun. "Master Jun." "Here." Jun took the money and passed it to Yushu. "Here's the money I lost. But don't let me find out that you cheated, or else humph." Although Jun didn't say his threat out loud, he was already furious. He didn't plan to let Meng Yao and Yushu go so easily, but he couldn't say it out loud in public, so he had to do it secretly. After giving the money, Jun didn't have the face to stay in the billiards hall any longer. Seeing everyone's mocking expression, Jun was enraged. He quickly walked to the counter and took out a bottle of drink from the fridge. He opened it and gulped it down, calming his anger down a little. He didn't pay after he finished the drink and left the entertainment center through the side door of the billiards hall. He felt wronged and wanted to go out for some fresh air. He would feel uncomfortable if he stayed any longer. Since he lost face, he didn't ask Zhou Ruoguang to accompany him and left the billiards hall alone. Yushu didn't really care about the 20,000 kwai. She wouldn't have ignored the coins that were spat out by the arcade if she cared about the money. She only cared about the excitement of winning the tournament. "I didn't think that I, Genius Shu, could be so good at everything." Yushu stuffed the 20,000 yuan into Lin Yi's hands. I'm done. It's boring, it's nothing to me. I'm hungry, let's go home and eat." "Ha!" Lin Yi took the money and followed Yushu and missed to the side door of the billiards hall. If they left from the side door, they could leave the entertainment center directly, and didn't have to go through the arcade again. "Genius Shu? Isn't it all because of Lin Yi?" Meng Yao didn't know how Lin Yi did it, but she knew that it had to be Lin Yi's doing. There was no doubt about it. "Oh, I know. Shield Bro is by my side, and after he gave me strength, I'm Genius Shu," Yushu said nonchalantly. Meng Yao was speechless. Why did she feel that Yushu was even more arrogant than Jun? Was she really Genius Shu? Jun walked out of the billiards hall and bumped into an old lady who was scavenging for scraps. The old lady was disabled due to a stroke. Not only was her mouth crooked, but one of her legs wasn't very nimble either. She was struggling to pick up mineral water bottles and cans from a woven silk bag. "Young man, can you give me your bottle?" The old lady saw Jun walk out of the billiards hall with an empty bottle in his hand and walked up to him to ask. Under normal circumstances, everyone would give their empty bottles to her. After all, it was troublesome to look for trash cans, so she might as well do a good deed. Chapter 838. Chapter 838. Shu the Prophet. How could the old lady be Jun's opponent? She was already old and didn't have much strength. Coupled with the fact that she was partially paralyzed, she loosened her grip and the woven bag flew out. The bottles and jars inside fell all over the ground. "Ah dash!" The old lady screamed and looked at Jun in fear, but she didn't dare to retort. She thought she met a hooligan. After all, she met unreasonable people like him before. The old lady could only swallow her anger and looked at Jun sadly. She lowered her head and stumbled to pick up the bottles on the ground. "Fuck, I'm so unlucky!" Jun casually threw his bottle in front of the old lady and said fiercely, "Here! Trash picker!" Meng Yao, Yushu and Lin Yi just walked out of the billiard hall and saw this scene from afar. Miss frowned and felt that Jun was evil. How could he treat a weak old lady like this? However, before Miss said anything, Yushu objected first. "Hey, how can you be so mean? Do you have any sense of civility? How can you treat the old lady like this? Can't you see that her legs are not good and she's handicapped? It's none of your business." Jun was even angrier. Why did this girl care so much? What did it have to do with her when he kicked the old lady? "Won't you become old one day? Can you guarantee that you won't be handicapped in the future? If you're handicapped and others treat you like this, will you feel good? Yushu scoffed. It was only then that Lin Yi realized that Yushu had a warm-hearted side to her. Both she and the miss were good people. My family is rich. Why would I come out to pick up trash? Plus, I'm so healthy, how can I become handicapped? It's unreasonable, Jiningjun said in disdain. There are many unreasonable things. Have you seen an elastic ball before today? Nothing is impossible in front of me, the invincible beauty Shu. Yushu blinked. Who knows, maybe you'll become like that old granny, and the old granny's illness will be transferred to you. Right, shield bro? Psycho. How could Jiningjun believe Yushu's nonsense? With a cold snort, he turned around and was about to leave. Wait, why is your back dirty? Lin Yi walked over and casually patted Jiningjun's shoulder. Under the sunlight, a dazzling light flashed across Lin Yi's hand. It was the effect caused by the reflection of the silver needle under the sun. What do you mean? Jiningjun froze. What do you want? It's nothing. I saw wrongly. It's this old granny who is dirty. Lin Yi didn't bother with him anymore. He turned around and walked to the old man's side. He casually poked the needle a few times on the old man's body before withdrawing it. It happened in an instant, and Jiningjun didn't think much of it, but Meng Yao and Yushu were stunned. They saw the silver needle in Lin Yi's hand. Yushu said that because she remembered that Lin Yi was a doctor and wanted to see if Lin Yi had a way to punish Jiningjun. She thought that since Lin Yi could cure General Weiwu, he must have a way to punish Jiningjun. Psycho. Jiningjun complained and suddenly realized that his mouth was crooked. What was going on? Jiningjun touched his mouth in fear, but he realized that the corner of his mouth was curled to the side. He couldn't control it because he couldn't feel anything at all. It was as if his mouth wasn't his own. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Jiningjun yelled in a muffled voice. Because the corner of his mouth was crooked, his words were unclear. On the other hand, the old granny suddenly realized that her legs seemed to have recovered and wasn't lame anymore. She was shocked. My leg, how did my leg suddenly recover? However, as soon as she opened her mouth to speak, she realized that her mouth wasn't crooked anymore and her speech became normal and fluent. What was going on? Jiningjun was also stunned by the old granny's change. He wanted to walk a few steps to see what was going on, but as soon as he moved his leg, he suddenly realized that one of his legs didn't listen to him anymore. He limped and almost fell to the ground. My leg, why can't my leg work? What's going on? Jiningjun screamed in fear. Meng Yao and Yushu were shocked as well. They didn't expect that Lin Yi could cure the old granny in such a short period of time and apply the same condition to Jiningjun. Yushu was surprised. She was just joking and didn't expect Lin Yi to be so magical and actually do it. Yushu was overjoyed. Shield Bro was so nice to her. If this continued, she would become Fairy Shu and do whatever she wanted. Ha! Look at how accurate my words are. People call me Prophet Shu. Look, I told you that you could understand the old granny's feelings if you were disabled, but you didn't believe me. Are you all right now? The old granny's illness has metastasized. Wahahaha! Yushu pointed at Jiningjun and laughed excitedly. Which angel bro showed up? This is great! Jiningjun was shocked at first, but after hearing Yushu's words, he looked at the old granny again. The old granny was no different from a normal person now, and his symptoms were exactly the same as the old granny's. What was going on? Was he really being punished by the heavens? Thinking back to the unbelievable things that happened today, Jiningjun looked at Yushu in shock. Was this person even human? Was she a deity who came down to the mortal world to punish him? Otherwise, why would everything related to her become unreasonable and couldn't be explained with common sense? The illness metastasized? This didn't conform to modern science. It was possible that it was an infectious disease, but how could the old granny's disability be contagious? Jiningjun's heart was filled with horror. You! What did you do to me? Jiningjun looked at Yushu in fear. He was a superstitious person, and once such a thought formed in his heart, it became more and more unbelievable. Chapter 839. Cure and Cure. No need, no need! Jin Ingjun was truly afraid of Yushu now. If someone pointed a gun at him, Jin Ingjun wouldn't be afraid, but the unknown that he had never experienced before scared him out of his wits. He didn't dare to let Yushu make a prophecy. If Yushu said that he would be hit by a car later, would he still be alive? Jin Ingjun felt that he shouldn't stay here for long. He didn't think about taking revenge on Yushu because he felt that he couldn't fight back with his own strength. What was this? This was like a deity's manifestation. Otherwise, how could he explain the bouncy ball? Now that he thought about it, the jump balls he hit might have been arranged by the heavens. Otherwise, how could he hit them? When he thought about the strange things on the billiard table, the ball that was obviously weak seemed to have taken stimulants. How could he explain this? He didn't think much of it before, but now that he thought about it, the more he thought about it, the scarier it was. He had been fighting against the deity. How could he win? Now, the old lady was a cripple and she was fine, but he was crippled. He didn't dare to imagine what would happen next. He was so scared that he turned around and ran away with a limp. This place was too scary. After he got home, he needed to ask a few deities to perform a ritual to get rid of the bad luck on him. He didn't think that he was really crippled or had a crooked mouth. He thought that he was possessed by something unknown, and he needed to ask a deity to perform a ritual. I know! I know! Little girl, you must be a deity sent by the heavens. Only a fairy would have such a great magical power like yours. The old lady wasn't stupid. How could she not know that it was Yushu's doing when she saw that her sickness was transferred to an evil person in the blink of an eye? How could an ordinary person do such a thing? It must be done by a deity. As a result, the old lady subconsciously treated Yushu as a goddess, and was about to bow to Yushu. Yushu was shocked. How could she let the old lady bow to her? She quickly held on to her. Grandma, please don't do this. It's not my doing. No matter how thick Yushu's skin was, she couldn't pretend to be a deity in front of the old lady. However, how could the old lady believe it? She only believed in what she saw. If it wasn't for Yushu, how would that gangster be punished? How would she be cured? Meng Yao and Yushu had no choice but to leave quickly. The old lady might have to kowtow again later, and they wouldn't be able to handle it. It wasn't until they got in the car that Meng Yao asked Lin Yi curiously. Lin Yi, how did you do that? Yeah, shield bro, how can the old grandma's illness be transferred? Yushu asked curiously. Huh? Lin Yi shrugged and started the car. The old lady's illness is just a side effect of a stroke. In other words, it's just a blockage in her meridians. It can be cured with acupuncture. It's just that her family is poor, and she hasn't been to the hospital before. Lin Yi was right. The old lady's illness wasn't an illness. It was just a side effect of the blockage in her meridians. Therefore, acupuncture could be used to cure it. However, in order to cure it instantly, Lin Yi had to transfer energy into her meridians. However, Lin Yi didn't tell Meng Yao and Yushu because they wouldn't understand even if he did. What about Jiningjun? How did he suddenly get the same illness as the old lady? Meng Yao knew that Lin Yi was a great doctor. Her poison and General Wei Wu's injuries were all cured by Lin Yi. However, it was easy to cure but hard to cure. How did Lin Yi create the illness for Jiningjun? Oh, it's the same principle. I used acupuncture to seal a few of his meridians. Lin Yi explained simply. In fact, he used energy to seal the meridians which caused the current situation. I see. Yushu suddenly understood. There's so much logic in it. Shield bro, what's with the pool? Pure energy. Lin Yi didn't know how to explain it, and could only blame it on pure energy. Oh. Yushu knew about pure energy but didn't know much about it. She didn't ask further after hearing Lin Yi's explanation. Jiningjun didn't dare to stay any longer and hurriedly went to find his father, Jindaizhou. Jindaizhou was shocked when he saw his son Jiningjun's condition. He was still fine when he left the house in the morning. How did he turn into such a miserable state when he got home? What was going on? Dad, today's incident is really strange. I've never encountered such a weird thing. Jun didn't hide anything and told his father everything that happened today. Dad, how is this possible? It doesn't make sense at all. Did he encounter something unclean? That's possible. Shindejo was in the business of living on the edge and he was more superstitious. After hearing Jun's words, he also felt that it was unbelievable. Elastic balls and such didn't make sense at all. You mean those two women might not be humans? Fairies? It's possible. Jun quickly nodded. Those two girls are so beautiful, how can normal people look like that? I've picked up countless girls, but I've never seen such a beauty. Now that I think about it, there's something wrong. Jindajo took a deep breath and turned to Zhou Tiandi, who hadn't spoken a word. Brother Tiandi, what do you think? Zhou Tiandi didn't know the truth and didn't know which deity Jun offended. He was worried that his son, Zhou Ruoguang, was in trouble as well, so he was distracted. I think Brother Dejo's guess is possible. Maybe he encountered something unclean? Brother Tiandi, do you know any deities? Do you want him to do the ritual for Ingjun? Jindajo didn't dare to delay. It was better to solve this problem as soon as possible. However, he didn't even think about going to the hospital because according to Jinjuan's description, this was a sign of being possessed. How could he be sick? Moreover, it's impossible to suddenly have a crooked mouth and limp legs. Who heard of such an acute illness? Chapter 840. How? Okay, money is not a problem. We must get a great deity here as soon as possible, Jindejo said. People like him who were involved in the underworld were afraid of very few things. If they were afraid, they wouldn't have done such illegal things. But the more they did guilty things, the more afraid they were of ghosts and deities coming to punish them. That was why Jindejo's house had many ghosts and deities. But what he was afraid of was what happened. Something happened as soon as he arrived at Songzhan. Jindejo's heart ached as he looked at his son's crooked mouth and limp leg. Son, please ask the great deity to protect you and let you return to normal as soon as possible. Okay. Jun prayed in his heart in fear. Zhou Tiandi turned around and left the room. He didn't contact the great deity first and called his son, Zhou Ruoguang. Zhou Tiandi saw Jun leave in anger and didn't dare to chase after him. He decided to let him relax by himself. Zhou Ruoguang wasn't stupid. He was calculating in his heart that since Jun offended Lin Yi, should he stay away from him in the future? He couldn't be friends with this person. He'd be dead if he dragged him into this. Dad, what's wrong? Zhou Ruoguang picked up his father's call. Ruoguang, do you know about Jun? Zhou Tiandi asked. He's possessed. Possessed? What do you mean? Zhou Ruoguang froze. He wanted to tell his father that Jun offended Lin Yi and ask him to stay away from Jun. He didn't want House Zhou to be dragged into this. However, he heard that Jun was possessed. He froze and didn't know what happened. How did he get possessed? Wasn't he fine before? Oh? You don't know? That's right, he got possessed after playing pool. Zhou Tiandi told his son how Jun got possessed and asked, Ruoguang, are you alright? If you're fine, stay away from Jun and don't drag you into this. Dad, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. Zhou Ruoguang was even more certain after hearing how Jun was bewitched. The father and son from House Jin should stop messing around with them. They were dead meat for offending Lin Yi. He hurriedly said, Dad, how is he bewitched? Do you know who he offended? Do you know who he played pool with? Oh? Not possessed? Who did he offend? Tiandi paused, feeling like his son knew the truth. I've offended Hayashi Lin, Zhou Ruoguang said in horror. The person who played billiards with him is Hayashi Lin's friend. He made Hayashi Lin unhappy, so he naturally became like this. Dad, didn't you say that Hayashi Lin is omnipotent and omnipotent? Huh! Tiandi was shocked when he heard the name Hayashi Lin. He thought to himself, I was wondering why Jiningjun became like this. He offended Lin Yi. That's normal. If he offended Lin Yi, he wouldn't be able to call himself an immortal anymore. Ruoguang, these Jin's father and son are the bane of our existence. It seems like our discussion with them this time was a failure. I don't want to play with them anymore. Let them figure out their own business with the gambling boats and send them away. Don't drag us into this, Tiandi said decisively. Yeah, that's what I think too. This Jiningjun doesn't know what's good for him. He even wanted to hit on the two girls around Lin Yi. I told him that Lin Yi is very powerful, but he didn't listen. What happened in the end? Did he cause trouble? Zhou Ruoguang sighed. All right, I got it. That Hayashi Lin didn't vent his anger on you, right? This was what Tiandi feared the most. As for the father and son from House Jin, it had nothing to do with him. No, there was a redhead who offended Hayashi Lin and I taught him a lesson. I could tell that Hayashi Lin was quite satisfied with it, Zhou Ruoguang said carefully. That's good. Tiandi nodded. All right, I've already done my best by contacting a shaman for Jiningjun. Just send them away. Although Tiandi was stepped on by Lin Yi many times, he still had a lot of connections in Songzhan. It didn't take long for him to contact a famous shaman. The shaman's name was Ah Ku, and he was quite famous in this area. Anyone who had a wedding or a funeral would ask him to perform a ritual. However, no one could say for sure whether there was a method or not. Some people said that he caught evil spirits with his bare hands, and some said that he could talk to the dead. However, whether this was the case or not, only the evil spirits that were caught and the dead who talked to them knew. After Aku arrived, he started jumping up and down to perform a ritual for Jiningjun. He chanted the spell for 100 times and placed a yellow talisman on the tip of the peachwood sword. He mumbled something and suddenly shouted. He ignited the yellow talisman and extinguished it in a bucket of water. He brought it to Jiningjun and said to Jindaizhou, Master Jun was possessed by something called a vengeful spirit, that's why he has all these weird symptoms. I've already caught the vengeful spirit, but the evil energy in Master Jun's body can't be dispelled in a short period of time. He must drink holy water for 3 days to recover. Master, thank you for your hard work. Jindaizhou saw Master Aku baring his fangs and brandishing his claws like monkey sundaes. Jindaizhou believed his words. This is the promised incense money. Please don't reject it. Sure. Aku looked at the thickness of the red packet. It was around 50,000 yuan, and he smiled as he kept it. Jiningjun drank the water mixed with paper ash. He didn't know if the evil energy was dispelled, but he did have diarrhea. Ever since he drank the bowl of holy water, he started to have diarrhea, and it didn't get better even after a whole night. However, Master Aku told him that this was the detoxification stage, and he had to expel the evil poison out of his body. Jiningjun thought that his mana was effective, and happily stayed in the toilet. The Zhou father and son maintained a cold attitude as they stood on the side. They didn't believe that a shaman could cure the illness that Hayashi Lin created for Jiningjun. However, they didn't say anything. It was fine as long as they knew it in their hearts. Why did they have to listen? What did Jindaizhou and Jiningjun's life and death have to do with them? What if God Lin finds out and blames the Zhou family? What if he blames them? Chapter 841. Chapter 841. Master Bing's new idea. Paper ash mixed with cold water, you're going to shit too. Zhou Tiandi wasn't stupid. Was that something a human could drink? Wouldn't he die if he drank it? You're right. Zhou Ruoguang nodded. I think that Aku is obviously a liar. Only idiots like Jiningjun and his son would give 50,000 yuan? What an idiot! 3 days passed by in the blink of an eye, and Jiningjun didn't show any signs of improvement. Instead, he had diarrhea and looked like he was going to faint at any time. Jindaizhou saw that it wasn't working. His son wasn't getting better at all. Instead, it was getting worse. Hence, he quickly dialed Master Aku's number and wanted to ask him to take another look. However, Master Aku's phone was turned off. At this moment, Jindejo finally realized that he was tricked by Master Aku. However, who could be blamed for this? Although Master Aku was found by Zhou Tiandi said that he didn't know any immortal and could only help. The immortal came with Jindejo's permission before treating Jiningjun. The incense money was also given by Jindejo willingly, so Zhou Tiandi couldn't be blamed for this. Jindejo was furious. Jiningjun was his only son, and he doted on him a lot. This time, he came to Songzhan to expand his family's business and bring his son along to broaden his horizons. He didn't expect such a disaster to happen. For a time, Jindejo also became a lot more haggard in one night, and the number of white hairs on his head also increased. Zhou Tiandi looked at Jindejo, who was sighing, and Jiningjun, who was in so much pain on the bed. He said sympathetically, "I don't think he's possessed. Should we go to the hospital?" Zhou Tiandi thought that since Lin Yi transferred the old lady's injury to Jiningjun, then Jiningjun must be sick too. What does it have to do with being possessed? This sentence reminded Jindejo. Jindejo rushed to the hospital with his son. After the doctor's examination, they came to a conclusion. Jiningjun's current condition was similar to the sequelae of stroke, epilepsy, and cerebral hemorrhage. There wasn't any immediate treatment for it, so he suggested to go to traditional Chinese massage and acupuncture. After hearing the doctor's words, Jiningjun and Jiningjun finally understood that they weren't bewitched. The sequela of the paralyzed old lady was transferred to Jiningjun. Although she didn't know how it was transferred, the disease did run to Jiningjun. Jiningjun wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Why? Wasn't it because he kicked that old lady's knitting bag? But she didn't have to be so ruthless, directly transferring her illness to herself. The father and son were very depressed. They were fooled by the shaman, but they found out that the truth was not the case at all. Moreover, this disease was not easy to treat. The Chinese medicine hospital's explanation was also very simple. No one could guarantee a complete cure. This kind of sequela could only be treated. Maybe it could be alleviated, and there might be a miracle. After the examination, Jiningjun's meridians were not normal blocked. His condition was different from the old lady's. The old lady's condition was real sequela, but Jiningjun's was a disease created by Lin Yi's energy. The condition of the blocked meridians was also different from normal sequela. In other words, Jiningjun's body looked normal on the surface, but his meridians were blocked by a strange force. This made the Chinese medicine hospital's doctors feel strange. When they asked about Jiningjun's medical history, Jiningjun was too embarrassed to say that he was cursed by the gods and could only answer vaguely. However, the more it was like this, the more the doctors couldn't find a suitable solution. They could only let him treat it first. Treat it? How could Jindejo let the doctors treat him? He only had one son and now he became like this. If he didn't cure him, what was the use of having a huge family business without anyone to inherit it? Thus, Jindejo panicked and asked Zhou Tiandi to investigate the upper class of Songzhan City to see if there was a miracle doctor who could cure Jiningjun's condition. Jindejo was willing to pay 1 million as a reward. Jindejo was really panicking, otherwise he wouldn't take out so much money. He brought Jiningjun to many specialists, but none of them had a good treatment plan for Jiningjun's condition. There were big hospitals and private clinics, but they all said they would treat him. No one promised that they could cure him. The cooperation between Jindejo and Zhou Tiandi was temporarily put on hold. In fact, Zhou Tiandi was happy to see this. He didn't dare to have anything to do with the Jin father and son anymore. These two unlucky bastards offended Lin Yi and caused such a huge disaster. How could he cooperate with them? Dream on. However, Zhou Tiandi was unhappy that since the Jin father and son didn't want to cooperate, they should just leave. Why were they still here? Didn't Donghai also have great doctors? Why did they have to stay in Songzhan City? In fact, Jindejo still had some superstitious thoughts in his heart. He thought that since Jiningjun's problem happened in Songzhan City, there must be a solution in Songzhan City. There was a cycle of cause and effect. This was the reason why he insisted on staying in Songshan City temporarily. In the floating cloud bar, Sihua reported the recent happenings in Songshan to the wheelchair-bound Zhao Qibing. The demolition went smoothly, and the residents of the slums happily moved away after receiving the compensation. It was just that the compensation was a little too much for them to pay. After reporting about the demolition, Sihua told Zhao Qibing about what happened to the Jin father and son from Donghai and how they asked for help. He didn't expect Zhao Qibing's eyes to light up after hearing it. He said he's going to pay 1 million as a reward? This business seems to be quite profitable. That's true. After all, life is more important than money. Sihua nodded and said, and I heard that Jiningjuan's illness is quite strange. He got it because he offended Lin Yi. There was no such thing as an impenetrable wall in this world, especially when Zhou Tiandi and Zhou Roguang knew about it. There was no need to keep it a secret. In the upper class of Songshan City, everyone basically knew that Jin Yingjun offended Lin Yi and got what he deserved. Who was Lin Yi? He was the ruthless person who crippled Zhao Qibing and pushed down Qibing's skyscraper. Those young masters with a high status all knew about this, but they didn't dare to bring it up because of Zhao Qibing's power. Chapter 842. Master Bing's Wisdom. He got it because he offended Lin Yi? What does that mean? Did Lin Yi create his illness for him? Yao Wang held a grudge against Lin Yi. He always thought that if he claimed to be the second best in the world of medicine, no one would dare to claim to be the first. Previously, he thought that Lin Yi recovered quickly because of Guan Xuemin's help. Yao Wang also thought that Guan Xuemin was the one who solved the poisoning incident in the school, so he wanted to compete with him. But after Li Delay's incident, Yao Wang realized that it wasn't what he thought. Lin Yi was the hidden medical master behind the scenes. Everything was caused by Lin Yi. I'm not sure about that, but the situation was really weird. Sihua recounted the situation, his hair standing on end. It was said that in a split second, the old lady's illness was transferred to Jin Yingjun. It's really weird. I don't know if it's true or not, or if it's just a rumor or something else, Sihua said as he recounted the situation to Jin Yingjun. It's said that in a split second, the old lady's illness was transferred to Jin Yingjun. It sounds really weird. I don't know if it's true or not, a rumor or something. The old lady's illness was transferred to Jin Yingjun. Yao Wang didn't quite believe Sihua's words. You're saying that the old lady had hemiplegia and her crooked mouth and lame legs were transferred to Jin Yingjun all of a sudden? Is that so? That's what I heard. Sihua nodded. Logically speaking, that's impossible. Yao Wang sighed. Yao Wang thought for a moment and said, however, it's possible if you have high medical skills. However, you don't have to transfer it. Instead, you have to cure the old lady's illness first, and then create the same illness on Jin Yingjun. One is to cure the illness, and the other is to control it. It seems to be a transfer, but that's just an outsider's understanding. Sihua sucked in a cold breath. In such a short period of time, Lin Yi cured one and controlled another? I can do that too. The king pharmacist snorted and said with some conceit. I, the king pharmacist, am not best at healing, but at harming people. This kind of insignificant skill is nothing to me. I see, I thought there was something wrong with this whole thing, but after Yao Wang's explanation, I see. Sihua nodded. Forget it, let's not talk about him anymore. Since that's the case, let's not talk about him. Master Bing, about the demolition of the orphanage. Wait, let's put the orphanage aside first. I've thought of a better way to make money. Zhao Qibing waved his hand. When he heard that Jindejo invested 1 million to treat Jin Yingjuan's illness, he started to plan this. Treating illnesses is quite profitable now. Look at that miracle Dr. Guan. People are thanking him profusely for treating people's illnesses. Why don't we start treating people as well? Those rich people are all very rich, and nothing is more important than their lives. We can also treat them and make money. Master Bing is wise. Sihua heard Master Bing's words and thought that this was indeed a way to make money, but he didn't know if Yao Wang would cooperate. He turned around and looked at Yao Wang. I'm sent by the head of the house to assist Master Bing. I, Yao Wang, will do whatever Master Bing says. Yao Wang didn't think much of it. No matter what he did, he would serve House Zhao, so it didn't matter to him. He just felt that the price was a little low. With his skills, was it only worth 1 million to treat an illness? He said in a roundabout way. Master Bing, but we can increase the price of the treatment, of course. If I were to earn 1 million, how long would it take? Zhao Qibing laughed and said sinisterly, Isn't Yao Wang the best at harming people? That's easy, we'll treat him and charge him 1 million, but we won't cure him. We'll transfer his illness to another place, and let him come to us for treatment. That way, we'll be rolling in money, won't we? Of course, we have to do it discreetly, we can't let them see through us. That's brilliant, really brilliant, Sihua said in admiration. Master Bing, you're really smart, coming up with such an evil plan. I didn't even think of it. Of course, don't we have a miracle Dr. Guan, Dr. Kong or something like that? We'll have a Zhao Yao Wang, and once we make a name for ourselves, we'll have as much money as we want. Zhao Qibing said proudly. Master Bing's idea is quite feasible. Yao Wang didn't object. He was a sinister person, healing and harming people was his forte. This way, the profit from one patient wouldn't be as simple as 1 million. Medical skills could save lives, but it could also harm people. Medical practitioners were proficient in the structure of the human body. This was especially so for TCM practitioners. They could even create illnesses through certain means. Nowadays, most doctors studied medicine to save people. Even if there were some who only cared about profits and worked for money, they would still save people after receiving the money. But there were also some who weren't like that. They studied medicine not to save people, but to harm people. These people were originally close officials of the royal court, and some nobles. They created illnesses so that some princes and officials could lie to the emperor and hide from the limelight. For example, if there were 2 factions fighting in the court, and the princes or the prime minister didn't want to get involved, they would claim to be sick to avoid it. Naturally, the emperor wouldn't believe them and would send the royal doctors to investigate. At this time, these people would play their role, creating fake illnesses to deceive the royal doctors. But as the dynasty changed, some of these people followed the fallen nobles and scattered among the people. They set up their own shops and began to walk among the rich, treating these rich people. But these people used to earn a lot of money from the noble families, and the medical fees weren't enough to satisfy their desires. So, these people started to treat some rich people, but they would never be cured. They would always have a backup plan, and they would keep collecting high medical fees until the rich person's money was drained. Then, they would cure all the illnesses according to their mood, or they would just ignore them and let them die. Chapter 843. The Jin family seeks medical treatment. However, he still had the ability to cure illnesses, so he agreed to Qibing's suggestion. Go spread the news that Yao Wang is starting to make house calls, specializing in solving difficult and complicated illnesses, Qibing said. Of course, you have to reveal that Yao Wang is the private doctor of a hidden house. Okay, Master Bing, I understand. Sihua nodded. Qibing's way of earning money was not bad, and there was no danger involved. Now, tell me about the orphanage. Why, is there a problem? Qibing asked. It's like this, after we went there last time, wasn't the old dean a golden class master? I was thinking of asking Yao Wang to come out and scare the old dean into giving us the orphanage's territory, Sihua said. There's no rush. You can handle Yao Wang's house calls first. After all, we'll be able to see the money soon. It'll take some time to demolish the orphanage, Qibing said. Okay. Sihua nodded and went out to spread the news. Jindejo asked Zhou Tiandi to find out about the miracle doctors who served the rich. He felt that normal doctors couldn't cure Jiningjuan's illness anymore. Only miracle doctors could. Heaven rewarded those who worked hard. Jindejo didn't think that House Zhao's private doctor would make house calls so soon. As one of the reputable people in East Ocean City, Jindejo naturally knew some news about the hidden aristocratic family, the Zhao family, who was entrenched in East Ocean City. However, people like him didn't have the chance to interact with the Zhao family. Even so, he knew that the Zhao family was a very powerful existence. When he heard that House Zhao's private doctor made house calls, he quickly sent Jinjun over. From his perspective, House Zhao's private doctor must be much better than the doctors outside. And so, Jinjun became Yao Wang's first patient. What's going on? Yao Wang glanced at Jinjun, whose face was crooked and legs were cramping. He pretended that he didn't know anything and asked faintly. My son Jinjun, I don't know why, but he was possessed and became like this. Jindejo thought that there was no need to talk about the process of his son's illness. He might as well talk about the illness. What's your son's name? Jinjun? Ha, he's really handsome. Zhao Qibing couldn't help but chuckle when he saw Jinjun's current appearance. How was he handsome at all? Jindejo knew Zhao Qibing. He knew that he was a famous young master in Dahai City. He had heard of his background as a hidden noble house, so when he saw Yao Wang beside him, he didn't suspect anything. He trusted Yao Wang wholeheartedly, and sincerely allowed him to treat him. He didn't dare to get angry when he saw Qibing laughing. He smiled bitterly. My son used to be quite spirited, but now he can't even go out and meet people. Everyone laughs like Master Bing when they hear his name. Zhao Qibing couldn't help but laugh, but he regretted it after laughing. He was trying to get money from Dejo. How could he piss him off? But after hearing Dejo's words, Zhao Qibing breathed a sigh of relief. This Dejo was quite smart. He knew when to advance and retreat. He said, Yao Wang, why don't you take a look at him? Yao Wang nodded and glanced at Jinjun. He understood the problem after a brief examination. Lin Yi's treatment was simple. He only used pure energy to seal a few of Jinjun's acupoints. Even without treatment, he would recover in 8 to 10 years. Of course, Yao Wang couldn't say this out loud. It can be treated, but it's very complicated. Yao Wang pretended to be profound and said to Dajo, Mr. Medicine King, I beg you, please cure my son's illness. As long as you can cure Yun's illness, just tell me your conditions and I will do my best. Jindejo was overjoyed when he heard that the Medicine King could cure his son. He had seen many doctors and they were all helpless. Yun's illness isn't an illness, nor is he possessed. Someone did something to him, Yao Wang said indifferently. This isn't a normal sequela of a stroke. Although it looks similar, there's a world of difference between them. Jindejo couldn't help but nod after hearing Yao Wang's words. Someone did something to him. No wonder normal hospitals couldn't do anything. Ah. Someone did something to him. Jinjun was shocked. He suddenly remembered that the person named Linny patted him a few times and he fell sick after that. Could it be that he did it at that time? He couldn't help but exclaim. Yes. It must be Lin Yi's doing. Dad, I know. Lin Yi? Yao Wang pretended to be surprised after hearing Lin Yi's name. What did you say? Lin Yi did something to you? Yes. What's wrong? Jinjun froze. Yao Wang, do you know this person named Lin Yi? Jindejo didn't think that his son had been tampered with because it sounded a little unbelievable, so when his son talked about the process, Jindejo didn't pay much attention. But now that Yao Wang said that his son was done to him and that he knew the person his son suspected, he couldn't help but ask. Of course I know him. Yao Wang nodded. This Lin Yi is a medical expert. He's good at saving people, but he's also good at harming people. How could I not know him? Ah. Fuck, so it was Lin Yi's doing. I'm going to kill him. Jinjun was furious after knowing the truth. Zhao Qibing sneered at the side. You want to kill him? Who do you think you are? I wanted Lin Yi dead for a long time, but now my leg is broken, Uncle Zhu is bedridden, the building collapsed, I lost money, but Lin Yi is still alive and kicking. But Zhao Qibing didn't say it. He didn't mind the father and son of Jinjun looking for trouble with Lin Yi. Even if they couldn't kill Lin Yi, it was good to make Lin Yi suffer. Jindejo coughed and glared at his son. Even if you want to take revenge, you have to wait until you're better. Can't you tell which is more important? Jindejo stopped his son and turned to Yao Wang. Yao Wang, between you and that Lin Yi, who's more powerful? Humph, I can cure the illness he created. Who do you think is more powerful? Yao Wang didn't answer the question directly. Chapter 844. The treatment gets worse. Sure, but I can tell you the theory behind it, Yao Wang said. You've heard of pure energy, right? Other than us ordinary people, there are some practitioners who can use pure energy. Of course I've heard of it. My relative is also a mystic division master. Jindejo nodded, but it was more or less an exaggeration. That mystic division master wasn't his relative at all, but someone he hired to deal with an enemy. It was just a relationship of interest. Oh, it's easy now that you've heard of it, Yao Wang continued. Lin Yi used pure energy to seal Jiningyuan's meridians, causing them to be blocked. That's why he's in such a condition. It looks like the sequela of a stroke, but it's actually not. It's more complicated than a stroke. I see. Jindejo listened to Yao Wang's explanation and became even more nervous. Then how do I cure it? I can only use my acupuncture and my true qi to neutralize it one by one. But it consumes a lot of my energy, and it's not something that can be cured in a day, so the process is more complicated. Yao Wang sighed. To be honest, it's not easy to treat this patient. Yao Wang, you have to save my son. If you don't do anything, what will happen to Yingjun in the future? Although his crooked mouth and crippled leg won't affect his life, it'll be a joke if he goes out. Jindejo panicked. We can discuss the consultation fee. Can you please do me a favor? Because I have some history with Lin Yi, and your son is the first patient I've ever seen, so I'll just have to help him. Yao Wang said. But let's make this clear, I'm not a charity and I'll take a certain fee. Let's set the fee at 1 million per visit. Okay. Jindejo nodded quickly. 1 million per visit wasn't a lot. His son's condition was too complicated, even 10 million couldn't cure him. Alright, since you've agreed, I'll transfer the Jinqi in your son's body today. I'll transfer it from his legs to his hands, and from his mouth to his ears. This way, one of his ears will be crooked, and one of his hands will be useless. On the surface, he'll look like a normal person. As for your ears and hands, I will slowly dissolve them for you, Medicine King said. Alright, that would be great. When Jindejo heard this, he realized that it was possible to transfer his true qi. After transferring it, it wouldn't be too obvious. That was great. His ears and hands could slowly recover in the future. As long as his appearance looked like a normal person, it would be fine. Alright, since you've agreed, I'll start the treatment now. The Yao Wang nodded, took out the silver needles, and prepared to start the treatment. In fact, Lin Yi was only punishing him lightly. Lin Yi didn't want to create a complicated disease, so Yao Wang could easily solve it. Yao Wang's so-called transfer was to heal Jiningyuan's mouth and legs, then use the same method to seal the meridians around his ears and hands. It sounded like a diversion, but in fact, it was to create an opportunity for him to make money next time. Or else, 1 million was a little too little. Yao Wang had already set a goal to squeeze at least 10 million from Jiningyun. Soon, under Yao Wang's acupuncture, Jiningyun's mouth and legs returned to normal. However, one of his ears was deaf and one of his hands couldn't feel anything. However, these problems were hidden and couldn't be seen on the surface. Jiningyun and Jindejo were naturally grateful to Yao Wang. After paying the fees, they agreed on the next time and left happily. Looking at the father and son from House Jin leaving, a cold smile appeared on Zhao Qibing's face. 2 idiots, just wait to give me money. Master Bing, I've decided to get 10 million from the father and son from House Jin. What do you think? Yao Wang told Zhao Qibing his idea. 10 million? So little? Zhao Qibing frowned. I heard that Jindejo is very rich. His assets are over 100 million. You should get at least half of it, right? 50 million! His. Yao Wang was shocked. Master Bing was a ruthless man. He was even more ruthless than him. He thought that 10 million was a lot, but Master Bing asked for 50 million straight away. However, Yao Wang couldn't understand why Jiningyuan's problems were worth 50 million. He couldn't help but ask, Master Bing, 1 million for 1 time and 10 times for 10 times, isn't that a lot? Are you stupid? Zhao Qibing glared at him. Can't you make more problems when you treat him? This shouldn't be a problem for you, right? Do you need me to teach you this? Jiningjun is a man who enjoys alcohol and women. If you make him impotent, let's see if he'll ask for help with a lot of money. If you're afraid of suspicion, then just do it to Jindejo and make that old man's sexual function fail. I understand, Master Bing. Yao Wan heard Zhao Qibing's words and was enlightened. Even a black-hearted doctor like him wasn't as black-hearted as Master Bing. Master Bing was too black-hearted. Almost all the famous people in Songhan knew that Jiningjun had a strange disease. It caused a huge commotion, and it wasn't a secret that Jindejo asked Zhou Tiandi to search for a doctor. However, the news that Jiningjun's disease was cured by a new Zhao Yaowang shocked everyone. In the past, everyone in Songhan knew that Guan Xuemin was a miracle doctor. They didn't expect that there would be another Zhao Yaowang who seemed to be even better than Guan Xuemin. Everyone saw Jiningjun's condition. His mouth was crooked and his legs were lame. They went to the hospital for a checkup, but there was nothing they could do. However, after Zhao Yaowang injected a few needles, a miracle happened. Jiningjun's legs were no longer lame, and his mouth was no longer crooked. Jindejo didn't want to tell others that he was deaf and couldn't feel his hands. He only said that his son was cured. This way, it was an advertisement for Zhao Yaowang. In an instant, everyone knew that there was a Zhao Yaowang in Songzhan. His medical skills were incredible, and he was even better than Miracle Dr. Guan. As a result, Zhao Yaowang's fame spread like wildfire. In the future, when the rich and famous people wanted to see a doctor, the first person they thought of was Zhao Yaowang. After all, Zhao Yaowang had cured someone before. Jiningjun was indeed alive and kicking now. Chapter 845. I'm sick. There are only 3 chapters left today. Last month, I persisted for 5 chapters a day for a month. I persisted until the beginning of this month. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I caught a cold for a few days, but I didn't have time to go to the hospital. I had been using cold medicine. Today, I finally couldn't take it anymore. Now, my whole body was hot and covered in sweat. I clenched my teeth and wrote 3 chapters. Everyone might have noticed that since the end of last month, the update time was getting later and later. It was also because of the cold that my thoughts weren't smooth. I wasn't very satisfied with the chapters that I wrote. I revised and revised until 9 p.m. The nearby clinics had also closed for the day. I thought I would be fine after taking some medicine, but it was really too cold at home. The more I persisted, the worse it got. It seemed like I really had to go for an intravenous drip tomorrow. Thank you to the readers who have been supporting the Merman. The Merman wants to do his best to write and bring you good novels. However, the Merman's body isn't good to begin with. When winter comes, the cold germs will find the Merman. It's really painful. Readers who are anxious can go and take a look at Very Pure, Very Ambiguous Prequel. This is the Merman's early work, and it has already been completed. Chapter 846. Chapter 0845. Hiring a spokesperson. What does Zhao Qibing want to do? Could it be that he learned how to make money from you? Fatty Lai asked curiously. I'm afraid he lost a lot of money recently. He didn't have the initiative in the slums area, so he probably won't be able to make much money. So, it's understandable that he's thinking of other ways to make money. Linny could guess Zhao Qibing's intentions. That Yaowang, he does have a way to treat people. This kind of thing has nothing to do with us. Yeah, let's ignore him then. It has nothing to do with us for now. Fatty Lai nodded. No matter how Zhao Qibing acted, as long as he didn't provoke Lin Yi, it wouldn't matter. Linny just laughed it off because there were more important things waiting for him. The first batch of products from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was about to hit the market. Let's not talk about him. Didn't you call me here to talk about the product? Linny had a lot of free time these few days. Tang Yun's problem was solved. He didn't know whether Zhong Pingliang and Jiang Wen were discharged or not, and Zhao Qibing had quieted down quite a bit. Zhou Ruoming fawned on Linny even more than when he saw his own father. This made Linny relax for a few days. Other than accompanying Miss and Shu to and from school, he would only see Tang Yun during breaks. His days were peaceful and leisurely. This was the life that Linny yearned for. There were no conflicts every day, and he could protect the people he loved, quietly savoring the little things in life. Linny didn't know how long these days would last. If it was possible, Linny hoped that it would last forever. However, although life was peaceful and it made Linny feel comfortable, Linny still kept his guard up. Yukuin went back. No matter what, Linny had a feeling that he was leaving a threat behind. It was just that House Yu hadn't made any moves yet. As for Zhao Qibing, Linny didn't believe that he would just let it go like this. Who knew if he would come up with some weird tricks to deal with him? Yes, the first batch of our injury medicine is ready and can be launched at any time, Fatty Lai said. However, when our company opened, we didn't hold any ceremony. Although Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company is quite famous outside, we still need to hold a product launch for the release of a new product. Press conference? Why is it so troublesome? Linny didn't think that launching a product into the market required such a complicated process. Yeah, it's just a way to show the company's strength. It's just like Qibing real estate companies building completion ceremony. Fatty Lai was an expert in business, so it was natural for him to be able to make sense of it. It's just that we ruined his completion ceremony. If that's the case, then it's up to you. Linny felt that he wasn't doing his job as a hands-off boss. He knew nothing about business. If it weren't for Fatty Lai, a follower he met halfway, it would have been hard for him and Xuemin to run the company. Alright, then I've decided. Fatty Lai nodded. Because our company's publicity is almost done. Now is the best time to go public. Once our product is launched, there will be a lot of media outlets promoting us for free. But according to the usual practice of many companies, they usually hire celebrities to boost the popularity of their new product launch. Celebrities. You know them? Linny wasn't interested in celebrities and he didn't watch TV. To him, celebrities weren't as cute as the girls at home. I don't know. Fatty Lai smiled bitterly. But money makes the world go round. As long as we're willing to pay, it's easy to hire a spokesperson. Oh, it's up to you then. Linny shrugged and said indifferently. Then, boss, do you have any good candidates in mind? Fatty Lai knew that many companies hired celebrities to be their spokesperson not only to bring popularity to their products, but also because the boss of the company was a fan of the celebrity. So, Fatty Lai wanted to ask Linny which celebrity he liked. Candidate? Linny paused. He didn't know any celebrities, so how could he know? But suddenly, a name popped up in his head. Is there a celebrity called Su Shihan? Linny remembered buying Su Shihan's album for Miss and Shu. He also saw Miss and Shu watching her concert in the villa. She was quite an eye candy, jumping around on the stage. But he didn't know if she would still look good after removing her makeup. Ah, yes! Fatty Lai was shocked when he heard the name. He nodded. Boss, Su Shihan is a top singer. Fatty Lai calculated in his heart. How much would it cost to hire Su Shihan to be their spokesperson? Su Shihan was super popular right now. A lot of middle school students were her fans. Her status must be high. But since it was Lin Yi who suggested it, Fatty Lai didn't say anything. He just had to try his best. Oh, then invite her. Lin Yi didn't think that Su Shihan was powerful, so he didn't think much of it. He only heard that Miss Shu and Tang Yun were her fans. Lin Yi just wanted to invite them to have some fun. As for Lin Yi himself, he didn't even look at celebrities in detail. Naturally, he wasn't her fan. Okay, I'll try my best. Fatty Lai nodded and noted it down, Oh right, boss, are you going to the product launch? Me? I'll pass. Linny shook his head. This medical company was just for fun. Linny wanted to use it to earn some pocket money. But as his friendship with Miss Yu deepened, Linny didn't feel like he was living under someone else's roof anymore. Although, Linny didn't know if it counted as friendship. Anyway, Missy didn't look down on him anymore. Furthermore, Missy was someone who didn't care much about money. So now that the medical company was established, it was a public service. It was impossible to earn money in a short period of time. The price of the medicine was set low, so it could compete with Dr. Kang's golden creation. Fatty Lai knew that Linny always kept a low profile, so he asked before. Since Linny didn't want to participate, he didn't force him. He continued, Boss, about Kong Xiaobo and Fin, I've arranged it like this. What do you think? Chapter 847. Company of Swindlers. Kong Xiaobo, I've arranged for him to be the company's intern vice president, mainly in charge of marketing, Fatty Lai said. The current executive vice president in charge of marketing is a friend of mine, and he's only here to help out. With him guiding Kong Xiaobo, I believe it won't take long for him to graduate as an apprentice. All right, I'll leave it to you. Lin Yi didn't expect Fatty Lai to arrange things so well, and it surprised Lin Yi. As for Xiaofan, I'll arrange for her to work in the quality inspection department, but the position of quality inspection manager is empty at the moment. It won't be too late to arrange for her to be the manager after she gets used to it, Fatty Lai explained. You've thought it through. Lin Yi was a classic example of nepotism, but whether it was Kong Xiaobo or Xiaofan, they wouldn't become arrogant because of this relationship. Although Kong Xiaobo was Lin Yi's follower, wasn't the company's general manager Fatty Lai also Lin Yi's follower? With Kong Xiaobo's grades, he wouldn't be able to get into any university, at most a third-rate one. It wasn't because he didn't study hard, but because Kong Xiaobo wasn't talented enough. He wasn't as smart as the Miss in Yushu, and he didn't have much of a heart. No matter how hard he studied, he could only maintain a below-average standard. Songshan's Songzhan was a good school, but that didn't mean that every student could get into a famous university. Students like Xiaobo, who weren't good at studying, could get into a better university if they had some connections or money, but those who didn't have any connections or money could only get into a third-rate university. Kong Xiaobo had thought things through a while ago, so he decided to put his studies aside and put his energy into managing the company. He could just get into a third-rate university to pass his time, and when the company had some results, he could study for an MBA or something. It wasn't a bad way out. Evidently, Kong Fu and Kong Mu had thought it through as well. What was the point of studying hard for 10 years? Wasn't it just a good job in the future? Now, he had a job, and it was a deputy general manager. In this day and age, even if you were a PhD student who had returned from abroad, without any experience or connections, it was impossible to give you a deputy general manager position. After Lin Yi left, Fatty Lai started looking for connections and connections. The contact information of the celebrities in the entertainment industry might be a secret to the common people, but it wasn't the same for the rich businessmen. They were always looking for endorsements, and the entertainment companies were more than willing to work with them. Fatty Lai quickly found the entertainment company Su Shirhan belonged to and contacted her manager. Needless to say, the manager of a superstar like Su Shirhan was very arrogant. She picked up the phone and hurriedly asked, "Who are you? What's the matter?" The way she spoke made Fatty Lai frown, but he still said patiently, "Hello, I'm from a company, and I want to cooperate with Miss Su Shirhan." The manager's tone softened a little after hearing that Fatty Lai was from a company, but it was still cold. "Which company are you from? What kind of strength? Why would he want to collaborate with Miss Su? Are you attending an event or endorsing a product?" The manager couldn't be blamed for being cold. There were a lot of people calling to harass Su Shirhan, and the manager couldn't be more annoyed every day. Before confirming the identity of the person calling, she couldn't let her guard down. "Hello, I'm the CEO of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, Lai Changyi. I'm looking for Miss Su Shirhan to endorse our company's product, and also to attend a new product launch. Fatty Lai could see that the manager was a straightforward person, so he didn't waste any time and said his purpose directly. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company? The manager was startled and asked. Is it Guan Xiaomin's company? Yes. Miracle Dr. Guan is Guan Xiaomin. Fatty Lai nodded. It seemed like the manager knew about his company. Guan Xiaomin's company, isn't it a scammer company? What Miracle Dr. Guan, it's a scammer. The manager's tone turned nasty, and before Fatty Lai could say anything, he hung up the phone with a bang. Do. Fatty Lai looked at the phone and didn't know if he should laugh or cry. How did Guan Xiaomin become a scammer? His own company, how did it become a scammer company? When did he offend Su Shirhan's manager? Wan Sis, why are you talking so loudly? Why are you calling him a scammer? A heavenly voice sounded from behind Sister Wang. A girl wearing a bathrobe, with fair skin and a slight blush, walked over. She looked like a fairy who had just come out of the bath. Her hair was still wet, and it was casually scattered. Her pretty face didn't have the slightest bit of makeup on, but she still looked very lovely. She was the superstar Su Shirhan who had countless fans and was the idol of many middle school and university students. But at this moment, she didn't act like a superstar at all. She walked behind the manager like a mischievous girl and bent down to look at her phone, wanting to see who she was calling. Han, are you feeling better? Wang Sis's cold expression changed, and a concerned expression appeared on her face as she turned to look at Su Shirhan. I'm fine. Su Shirhan shook her head and smiled sweetly. Wang Sis, don't worry about me. Right, you haven't told me yet? What happened before? Also, Wang Sis, why is your temper so bad these days? You're always so cold when you pick up the phone. It's not that I'm cold, but there are some entertainment reporters who always pretend to be fans and collaborators, spying on this and that. It's annoying me. Wang Sis sighed. Looks like I'll have to change the phone number after a while. Too many people know this number. But what if it's really a call to collaborate? Su Shirhan nodded and asked. I can tell with just a few words whether it's a collaboration or not. Some people have too much money and purposely call to have fun. Our Han isn't that kind of person. If you want to chase after a celebrity, go find someone else. Wang Sis had been a manager for a few years, and she had a pair of sharp eyes. The companies that could really afford to collaborate with Su Shirhan were all big and famous companies, not some unknown small company. Chapter 848. The celebrity's strange illness. When she grew up and entered the entertainment industry, it was Wang Sis who acted as her manager, shielding her from the wind and rain. Although Wang Sis wasn't her real sister, in Su Shirhan's eyes she was more or less like a real sister. Now that she was earning money, Su Shirhan would always split the income into two, one under Wang Sis's name. Although Wang Sis didn't want it, Su Shirhan still insisted. No, it's a scammer company. Wang Sis shook her head. It's that Guan Xiaomin Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. It's been hyped up on TV and newspapers recently, but it's actually a scammer, haha. Su Shirhan heard Wang Sis's words and couldn't help but smile helplessly. Wang Sis, Elder Guan is an expert in the medical world, how can he be a scammer? If he's not a scammer, then why can't he cure your illness? After acupuncture for so long, there's no improvement at all. He even said that he could cure it, Wang Sis said with disdain. You can't say that, so many hospitals couldn't cure it either, right? It's just that my illness is a bit strange. Su Shirhan didn't think that Guan Xiaomin was a scammer, since her situation was too complicated. Forget it, we have to have a conscience when we're endorsers. If he can't even cure your illness, how can he call himself a miracle doctor? We can't just let you lie with your eyes wide open, right? Wang Sis said indifferently. Su Shirhan heard Wang Sis's words and couldn't help but smile and shake her head. It's not like there aren't such celebrities. Fake endorsements, there's a lot of them nowadays. I think I should call Master Guan and apologize to him. He was very attentive when he treated me. Do what you want, this kind of scammer, why bother with him? Wang Sis was a person who had a clear distinction between love and hate. She had a very strong personality, unlike Su Shihan, who was pure and didn't have complicated thoughts. However, for someone like Su Shihan, if it wasn't for Wang Sis, her manager, she would definitely be at a disadvantage. Su Shihan smiled and picked up the phone. She found the number and called Xiaoming, but his phone was turned off. She could only put this matter aside for now. Fatty Lai didn't manage to invite Su Shihan, so he quickly called Lin Yi, but Lin Yi didn't think much of it. He heard that Su Shihan's manager was a cocky one, so he gave up on the idea of finding a spokesperson. Jiang Wen didn't have a good time these days. The pressure from his family and the Fire Wolf gang made it hard for him to breathe. Fortunately, before the kidney trafficking organization was destroyed, Jiang Wen had earned a lot of money for his family and the Fire Wolf gang. Jiang Wen's brother, Jianda, was in charge of organ trafficking in Songzhan. Although he didn't get into any trouble, he had to spend money to buy kidneys. The turnover was small, and the cost was high. So, his annual profit wasn't even as much as Jiang Wen's monthly profit. This was also the reason why the Fire Wolf gang and Housen didn't take Jiang Wen back. Jiang Wen was quite arrogant and unscrupulous, but one had to admit that he was an expert at making money. He made tens of millions of profit in 1 month, and even the leader of the Fire Wolves North had to look at him in a different light. At this moment, Jiang Wen was lying on the sofa, receiving a call from his father. Jiang Wen, you're still too young. You're too reckless this time. Jiang Wen's father, and Mingwei said seriously. Look at your cousin, he's been in Songzhan for a year, and although his results aren't as good as yours, he's stable. Isn't he being used by the Fire Wolf gang now? Dad, I'm just trying to show Grandpa and the Fire Wolf gang what I want, right? Our family, ever since I left the country, the business in the north has been handed over to my uncle. Our family's position in Housen and the Fire Wolf gang has been plummeting, Jiang Wen said bitterly. Idiot! I may have given up on the business in the north, and I'm now the liaison between the house and the Fire Wolf gang. It may seem like I'm not as glorious as your uncle, but in reality, every transaction with the Fire Wolf gang comes from your father. And Mingwei said. Otherwise, why do you think the Fire Wolf gang would put you in charge of the business in Songzhan when you just came back? As for your brother, is he really valued by the Fire Wolf gang? He's only going to the border to deal with the drug dealers. It looks like he's making a lot of money, but do you know how dangerous it is? Which one of those foreign drug dealers isn't a murderer who kills without blinking an eye? I understand, Dad, I was too reckless. Jiang Wen thought about his father's words and felt that it was true. Humph, but the organ smuggling business won't last long. Jianda had already attracted the police's attention when he started it. It's fine if it's stopped now. You've made quite a lot of money for the Fire Wolf gang, so we'll let this go. And Mingwei said. Fortunately, the head of the Fire Wolf gang's northern branch is a cruel man. He likes your unscrupulous way of making money, and with me coming back from the middle, he finally agreed to give you a new job. What? A new job? That's great. Jiang Wen was overjoyed when he heard his father's words. He was still thinking about what he should do in the future. How was he going to pursue Meng Yao without a kidney and a career? Now, a new career had arrived so quickly. Yeah, the most profitable business is prostitution, drugs, and organ smuggling. As for the sex industry, there are local gangsters everywhere. We shouldn't interfere. And Mingwei said. As for drug trafficking, your cousin is already in it. What you need to do now is gambling. Oh? You want me to build a casino? Jiang Wen could roughly guess his father's intention. Yes, but not a normal casino. It's an underground boxing ring. And Mingwei said. Normal casinos are also controlled by local gangsters. It's not good for us to interfere. That's why we're doing the boxing business. Not only can we sell the tickets, but we can also bet on the outcome of the fights. It's a very profitable business. No problem, leave it to me. I'll do it well this time. Jiang Wen nodded. But I don't have anyone else I can use. The tattooed guy already took the blame for me. Chapter 849. Jiang Wen's kidney transplant. Don't worry, Father, I know what I'm doing. But can you send me another person who can run errands? Otherwise, these two won't be able to help me take care of things. Jiang Wen wasn't an idiot. One was a fighter, and the other was a doctor. They were both important figures in the Firewolves, and so he couldn't just use them as scapegoats. The kidney trafficking company had taught him a lesson. He had to have a backup plan. He was lucky enough to escape this time, but he had to be more careful next time. He had to prepare a scapegoat for his crimes. Otherwise, the next person to go to jail would be him. Haha, of course, you don't have to worry about that. And Mingwa smiled. I've found a suitable candidate. He's a wanted criminal, and he only has a junior high schooler at home. He can help you. How could Mingwa not know what his son was thinking? Plus, he didn't want anything to happen to Jiang Wen, so he had to arrange everything in advance. Oh, so this person doesn't have anything to worry about? Jiang Wen asked quickly. Nope, he only has a junior high schooler at home. After he committed the crime, he lied to his brother, saying that he went overseas to work. And Mingwa said, I've already sent some money to his brother a few days ago, saying that his brother won't be back for a while. That's good. Jiang Wen nodded. Leave this arena to me. I'll make it great for you. Jiang Wen hung up the phone. He was very excited. The second spring of his career was about to come. He thought that he would be neglected by the Firewolves for a while, but it seemed like his father's relationship with the Firewolves wasn't just a shallow one. But when he thought about the fact that the Firewolves sent a mystic early-phase peak wasn't going to be his bodyguard or fighter, Jiang Wen felt a little depressed. How great would it be if this person was his subordinate? Then he could be arrogant and tyrannical in Song's Hun City again. In fact, Jiang Wen didn't have a decent follower. Otherwise, he wouldn't even care about Zhao Qibing. What was an illegitimate son of a hidden house? Even the direct descendants of the hidden families had to be respectful in front of the Fire Wolf Gang's division leader. This was also why Jiang Wen didn't give Qibing any face. Qibing knew that Jiang Wen had the Firewolves behind him, so he didn't dare to act recklessly. However, the secrets of the Firewolves were only known to those who stood at a certain level. Zhao Qibing knew a thing or two about them and knew that the Firewolves were not to be messed with. Sihua, on the other hand, had no idea how strong the Firewolves were. Right now, Jiang Wen felt that all he needed was a kidney, and he'd be able to regain his glory. Now that he had a career and powerful subordinates, all he had to do was install a kidney, and he would once again be one of Songshan's 4 young masters. Jiang Wen hung up his father's call and was about to call Pin Liang, but Pin Liang's call came in before he could make the call. Jiang Wen picked it up quickly. Hello? Brother Pin Liang? How was it? Are the results out yet? Hey, we're out. Pin Liang pretended to be in pain and said worriedly. It really isn't a match, my kidney, Pin Liang bro, I'm sorry for your loss. I'll get you a good kidney for sure. Look, is your kidney? Jiang Wen asked carefully. Yeah, since it's yours, I'll have to return it to its rightful owner. Pin Liang sighed. And bro, you can't forget me in the future. You have to get me a good kidney. Of course. When do you think we should do the surgery? Jiang Wen was worried that something might happen if something went wrong. The sooner the better. There's no rush, right? My body's been through a couple of surgeries, and I'm still very weak. I need to nourish my body before the surgery, right? Pin Liang said, troubled. Plus, the surgery fee is quite expensive. I'll have to discuss it with my dad first. The surgery fee is not a problem. Of course, I'll pay for it. How can I let you pay for it, bro? Jiang Wen said quickly. As for your body, we can nourish your body after the kidney transplant, right? How about this? I'll give you some nutrition fees, and you can buy some supplements or something. I see. Pin Liang was overjoyed. Jiang Wen, you idiot. I'm giving you a dog kidney and you're giving me money? What an idiot. But he didn't show it on his face. Since bro says so, I can't really say no. I guess that's the only way. But how much can you give me for the nutrition fees? How about 500,000? Jiang Wen gritted his teeth. That was half of his private stash. The rest of it was given to the firewolves and Hausen. He was feeling a little heartache. But he had a career now, and he had a kidney. What was this little bit of money? It was a double blessing for him. Okay, right? Then when do we get the kidney transplant? Jiang Wen asked anxiously. Bro, since you're in such a hurry, I won't delay it any longer. How about tomorrow? Pin Liang said. The private clinic that's doing the checkup here can do the surgery. I've already contacted Xiaofu. Okay. Tomorrow then. Pin Liang bro, thank you. I'll treat you to a feast then. Jiang Wen was overjoyed by Pin Liang's words and quickly thanked him. After Pin Liang hung up, Xiaofu asked, Liang bro, how was it? Did Jiang Wen agree? He did. We'll get the kidney transplant tomorrow, and then give me 500,000 as compensation, Pin Liang said. Is everything ready on your side? Everything's ready. We can do the surgery any time. Gao Xiaofu cackled and said, Brother Liang, I've also prepared a mad dog. I bought a mad dog from the dog hunting team. This mad dog is really hard to catch. Ha, we'll get that Jiang Wen a mad dog kidney. We'll play him to death. Who told him to screw me over? Take my kidney away? Pin Liang started laughing as well. Jiang Wen, just you wait. The best part is yet to come. When Zhang Naipao comes down from the mountain, it'll be your death. That's true. When Gunslinger comes out, no one will be able to fight him, Xiaofu said with anticipation. Liang bro, when do you think we can go see Naipao? Chapter 850. Yushioka, are you depressed? I know that. Xiaofu nodded. The two of them had grown up amidst great joys and sorrows. How childish were they when they thought back to what they'd done. But how many people hadn't been childish before in their lives? How many people hadn't grown up amidst failure? Pin Liang and Xiaofu's thoughts had deepened, and they no longer showed their hatred on their faces and fought their enemies head-on. They now knew how to use schemes and strategies. The next morning, Pin Liang and Xiaofu arrived at the private clinic they'd agreed on earlier. This clinic was under Tsihua's jurisdiction, and Xiaofu was able to easily reach an agreement with the doctors here using Tsihua's name. Jiang Wen thought that it'd be hard for a normal clinic to complete a kidney transplant, but after seeing the size of this clinic, he let go of that worry. This clinic wasn't small at all, and they could even perform appendectomies and cholecystectomies. A kidney transplant shouldn't be a problem at all. Pin Liang pretended to sigh as he chatted with Jiang Wen, and with Xiaofu's help, he walked into the surgery room and laid down on the bed. The doctor injected anesthetic into Jiang Wen first, and in order to not arouse Jiang Wen's suspicion, he pretended to inject the anesthetic into Pin Liang as well. In fact, Jiang Wen was being very careful this time. He'd removed the wrong kidney last time, so naturally he'd be more careful this time. It wasn't that he thought that Pin Liang would lie to him, but he didn't suspect Pin Liang at all. Why would Pin Liang want a rejected kidney? Since Pin Liang had promised to return the kidney to him, Jiang Wen didn't think too much about it. He was just worried about the doctor's skills. After a while, a wave of drowsiness hit him, and Jiang Wen fell asleep. Pin Liang, who should have fallen asleep as well, sat up abruptly and got off the bed. He looked at the sleeping Jiang Wen and spat on the ground before calling out to the surgery room. Shifu, open the door and let the dog out. All right, Liang bro. Gao Xiaofu pushed a surgical cart over, and on the cart lay a big black dog that had already been anesthetized. Dr. Zhang, sorry to trouble you, Gao Xiaofu said to the chief surgeon with a smile. Don't worry, there won't be any problem. I don't dare to replace a human kidney, but a dog kidney is not a problem. Anyway, it's fine even if it's damaged, right? Dr. Zhang nodded and asked. It's fine if I die, Pin Liang said nonchalantly. The rest was left to Dr. Zhang, and Pin Liang and Xiaofu left first. Xiaoka was very depressed these days, almost to the point of being depressed. Qibing Real Estate wanted to demolish the orphanage, But before she could think of a good strategy, her source of income was cut off. Recently, the city's anti-theft campaign was in full swing, and Yoshioka realized that there was a plainclothes police patrolling every few steps. She didn't have a chance to make a move. Moreover, committing a crime at a time like this was no different from asking for death. Although what she did wasn't enough for Lingshan to issue a wanted order for her, who knew if Lingshan told her subordinates about her appearance? What if she was recognized for being sneaky? However, she had to go out and earn money. The orphanage's expenses were getting higher and higher, and if this continued, they would be running out of money. Xiaoka was depressed and anxious. "Xiaoka, what are you doing? You're walking around the house, and I'm getting dizzy." The dean couldn't help but ask when she saw Xiaoka walking around like a headless fly. "Master, the police are starting to crack down. I can't go out and work anymore." Xiaoka sighed. "I need to think of a way. It seems like I need to spread the news and get a few big deals." Linny sighed and said, "Ah, Xiaoka, it's been hard on you." The dean looked at Xiaoka with heartache. "If it wasn't for the fact that I can't show my face in public, I really want to share some of your burden. You're only 18, and you should be enjoying your youth without any worries, but you have such a heavy burden on you every day. Master, you're treating me like an outsider. You treat me like a daughter, and I share your burden. Isn't that what I should do?" Xiaoka didn't think that she was suffering much. It had been so many years, and she was used to it. Now, all she wanted was to earn money so that the children in the orphanage could live a good life. "Xiaoka, you're not young anymore, right? One of my biggest wishes is for you to marry into a good family, get rid of your current hard life, and live a happy life." The dean looked at Xiaoka and suddenly said, "Me? Marry? Ha, master, don't joke with me." Xiaoka shook her head. "Who dares to marry me? I'm a female thief. Who dares to marry me? That's not important. If you don't say it yourself, who would know?" The dean didn't mind. "Just change a place and hide your name. Change a place and hide my name? No way. What about the children in the orphanage? How can I leave them alone?" Xiaoka shook her head. "So, whoever marries me has to bear the burden of the orphanage. Ha, who would dare to marry me? Even if I'm as beautiful as a goddess, it's impossible, right? Plus, I'm not even a sky immortal yet." The dean sighed and didn't say anything else on the topic. He knew what Xiaoka was thinking. How could she think about marriage before the orphanage's problems were solved? And if it was as Xiaoka said, marrying her would have to bear the burden of the orphanage, then no one would dare to marry Xiaoka. Xiaoka was pretty, but she was used to playing around outside, and she was a female thief. Which rich family would want a girl like that? If it was a small family, who would be able to bear the burden of such a huge orphanage? But then again, even if those rich families were willing to marry Xiaoka, why would they help her bear the burden of the orphanage? They were rich, but they couldn't afford to spend money like that, could they? The orphanage's expenses went up to $1 million a year. How expensive were things nowadays? Chapter 851. House Kang's urging. "What else can we do? We have to try, right? At least our sex Qigong is good, and we're good at mechanisms. We're better than them," Yoshioka said proudly. "Last time, I helped them rob tombs. If it wasn't for me, they'd be dead already, just be careful." The dean knew that Yoshioka had made up her mind, so he didn't try to persuade her anymore. The orphanage couldn't lose its income, or else it wouldn't be able to survive. Yoshioka posted a mission on the Thief's Door's website and waited for people to accept it. But normally, once a mission was issued, there wouldn't be people looking for it immediately. So during this time, Yoshioka decided to do something. After thinking about it, she felt that she didn't have any skills. The only thing she could think of was to sell flowers in front of the hospital. The risk was low, and she could still make a profit. After thinking about it, she brought Xiao Ken and the older kids to the wholesale market to buy some flowers. They started selling flowers in front of the first public hospital. In fact, there was a local boss who controlled the sales of flowers, but he knew Yoshioka. He knew that she was a cat burglar, and that she wasn't someone to be messed with. He also heard about the crackdown in the city, so he knew that Yushiauka selling flowers was just a temporary measure. It wouldn't last long, so he turned a blind eye to it. Kang Mingming laid on the sickbed. Luckily, his legs were only fractured, and not comminuted. It was a relatively light fracture. But as the saying goes, it takes 100 days to recover from an injury. Even if Kang Mingming had some good medicine, he wouldn't be able to walk in a short amount of time. Fortunately, the wheelchairs were more intelligent. They could move forward and backward, and they could even turn corners. Wan Shubing and Zhu Xiaoang followed them, so it didn't take too long. Today was the day that Kang Mingming was discharged. Other than the terminally ill, it was a good thing for normal people to be discharged, but Kang Mingming wasn't in a good mood. Guan Xian hadn't visited Kang Mingming ever since she'd laid in bed for so many days. Kang Mingming's main reason for staying in the hospital was to get close to Guan Xian, but now that he hadn't gotten close to her, he'd suffered for a few days in vain. Shubin, do you have any other good ideas? Kang Mingming was panicking. His family had been calling him all the time, urging him to get Guan Xian as soon as possible. But his leg was broken. Where would he get the chance to get Guan Xian? Master Ming, I don't think we should use the excuse of being sick to get close to Guan Xian, Wan Shubing said after some thought. Nonsense! You think I don't know? Even Guan Xian is starting to get suspicious. If I get sick again, even if she doesn't think I did it on purpose, she'll still think that I'm an unlucky bastard who gets sick all the time. Who would want to be friends with me? Kang Mingming snorted. Plus, which patient she's in charge of has such a bad injury? She won't be able to control it well if it's light or heavy. Yeah, but I really can't think of any good ideas, Wan Shubing said carefully. The guides on picking up girls on the internet are all bullsh*t, they're just to trick people. There's no practical use at all. What are they saying on the internet? Kang Mingming asked. They're all about drugging her, getting on the car first, and then paying for the ticket, Wan Shubing said. What the f***ck, you're on porn, right? What kind of nonsense is this? Kang Mingming heard Wan Shubing's words and knew that it was impossible. If he drugged Guan Xian, it'd be good enough if she didn't hate him to death. How could she tell him the formula? To hell with it. Yes. Yes. Wan Shubing wiped the sweat off his forehead. Didn't you tell me to go see her? But he didn't dare to refute. As they were talking, Kang Mingming's phone rang. Kang Ming picked it up and saw that it was his brother Kang Xiaolong. He quickly picked it up. Brother? Xiaoming, I heard that you're leaving the hospital today? How's it going? Xiaolong had something to discuss with Kang Mingming, but Kang Ming had just been discharged from the hospital. As his brother, he had to visit him. I'm alright, but I still have to sit in a wheelchair. Brother, what's up? Kang Mingming asked. Isn't it that thing? Xiaolong sighed. The Xiao family came looking for Grandpa to force the marriage. They even brought a mystic class master. Motherfucker, are they trying to scare us? That's why you need to hurry up and get Guan Xian to give us the prescription. No matter what you do, you have to get it done as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to marry Wang Xinyan. Kang Mingming thought that marrying Wang Xinyan would be a beautiful thing. If he was the one to marry her, he'd be more than happy to do so. But he also knew that if House Kang really had the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, they'd have a qualitative leap. With this formula, they'd become one of the most powerful houses in the world. Although the aristocratic families that had consumed the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing didn't publicly announce the effects of the pill, they had secretly sent people to the Kang family to inquire if they had any intention of selling the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing they had purchased at the auction. If they could, they would offer a reasonable price. Reasonable price? House Kang had already spent more than 400 million on the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Wouldn't a reasonable price be more than 400 million? It was unimaginable. But Kang Mingming knew that even if they spent 500 million, it would still be worth it to some of the older members of the big houses or even the hidden houses. One pill could extend one's lifespan by 10 years. That was money for life. It was worth it no matter how much it cost. Plus, Kang Mingming had experienced the effects of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing firsthand, and he was still benefiting from it. His cold from before, and now that he'd been smashed by the house, had healed rather quickly. It was all thanks to the changes in his body. If it were the old Kang Mingming, with his weak kidneys, he'd be lying in the hospital a long time ago. As a result, once House Kang got the formula and refined the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, wouldn't all the other houses have to give them some face? At that time, the Kang family would be promoted to an aristocratic family, and that would be a matter of course. "I'll hurry," Kang Mingming said. "But we can't rush this, right?" Chapter 852. Oh? Injury medicine formula? Raw material supply? Raw material supply? What do we need that for? Kang Mingming didn't understand what Aolong wanted. If we find out that their formula is the same as our golden creation, we can sue them for patent infringement, Xiaolong said. As for the raw material supply, we can contact them and ask them to sell all their raw materials to us. That way, Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company won't have any raw materials to sell. If they can't make the product, then the formula will be useless. Is that so? I understand. I'll try my best to find out. Kang Mingming nodded. It's best to find out first. If the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing isn't easy, we can put it aside for now, Xiaolong said. After all, House Kang's biggest competitor is Miracle Dr. Guan's company. Okay, Kang Xiaoming replied. In his mind, he was thinking about how to get Miracle Dr. Guan's formula and the source of the raw materials. Did Guan Xian know about this? But even if she didn't, he could find out. It seemed like he had to get Guan Xian first. After hanging up, Kang Mingming was panicking. Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company was going to release their new product next month. It would be too much of a rush to get the formula before then. Wang Shubing, things have changed. We have to get Guan Xian as soon as possible. Kang Xiaoming didn't hide his intentions from his confidant. My big brother is already rushing me. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company will be releasing their product into the market next month. We need to get the formula of the injury medicine and the raw material purchasing channel before that happens. Kang Xiaoming didn't hide his intentions from his confidant. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhang had helped him do some evil things before, such as murdering Xiaofan, so these things weren't a big deal in their eyes. Master Ming, that's going to be a bit difficult. Guan Xian's a pure and innocent girl with a strong sense of self-defense. With her family background, she won't be easily tempted by money. That's why our methods of picking up girls like they're dirt aren't going to work. Wang Shubin frowned and sighed. Guan Xian is a girl from a wealthy family. She likes romantic love, but we don't have much to be romantic about. Romantic. Damn it, I didn't know what romance was 10 years ago. Whenever I saw a pretty girl, I would throw money at her, Kang Mingming said fiercely. But I don't care. Think of a romantic way for me right now. I need to finish Guan Xian as soon as possible. There's no time. Wang Shubing was speechless. Where could he go to find romance at this time? However, since it was Kang Mingming's order, he could not disobey it. He could only think hard. Even though Zhu Xiaozhang wasn't named by Kang Mingming, there was no guarantee that Kang Mingming would ask him. So he didn't dare delay. While Wang Shubin was thinking, Zhu Xiaozhang was also thinking of a solution. You three, why are you standing in the middle of the hospital's entrance? Do you want to die? The three of them were thinking hard when they suddenly heard a loud shout. Kang Mingming looked up and saw a hearse entering the hospital. The three of them were standing in the middle of the entrance, blocking the hearse's way. The driver of the hearse was holding a wreath to pick up the deceased, but when he reached the entrance, he was blocked by Kang Mingming's group. He honked for a long time, but the three of them didn't hear him. The driver had no choice but to open the window and yell at them. However, Zhu Xiaozhang was an arrogant person. He was usually as domineering as a crab, but when he heard someone scolding him, he immediately became angry. He glared at the hearse driver and cursed. "Who are you calling courting death? You old bastard, you don't want to live anymore, do you? Do you know who I am? Why are you in such a hurry? Do you want to die?" The hearse driver was just angry at the moment, so he spoke without thinking. As long as Zhu Xiaozhang moved out of the way, he would let it go. However, when he saw Zhu Xiaozhang's arrogance, blocking the road and still speaking reasonably, he became angry. "I am in a hurry to pick up the deceased. What's wrong? If you don't move out of the way, I will run you over and give you a wreath. I will take you to the crematorium on the way." "Huh!" Zhu Xiaozhang wanted to continue yelling, but when he heard the driver say he would give him a wreath, he suddenly had an idea. Wreath. Flowers. Yes, if there was anything romantic, it would be giving flowers. He had seen some soap operas before. In those soap operas, the male protagonist would use flowers to woo the female protagonist. They would create a sea of flowers, and then the male protagonist would stand in the middle of the sea of flowers with a broken guitar, confessing his love. Although Guan Xian wasn't a gold digger, she definitely couldn't stand such a romantic sea of flowers. Every girl wanted to have a romantic courtship like this, so Guan Xian was no exception. Zhu Xiaozhang was so happy that he danced with joy. His gaze towards the hearse driver was a lot gentler than before. This person was a great help to him. So Zhu Xiaozhang smiled at the hearse driver. "Thank you." The hearse driver was dumbfounded. What kind of person was this? He was giving him a wreath and he was thanking him? Was there something wrong with him? Was he crazy? Thinking of this possibility, and seeing Zhu Xiaozhang's gratified smile, the driver shuddered. He suddenly remembered that this was a hospital. Could this person in front of him be a mental patient? Thinking of this possibility, the driver was shocked. It wasn't against the law for this psychopath to kill someone. He couldn't provoke him. He quickly reversed the car and prepared to leave from the back door of the hospital. He didn't want to provoke this psychopath and invite an unexpected disaster. Zhu Xiaozhang didn't have the mood to care about what the driver was thinking. He quickly turned to Kang Mingming. "Master Ming, I have a good idea." "What is it?" "Hurry up and tell me," Kang Mingming asked impatiently. "It's like this, we can use the flower sea tactic," Wang Shubing said. "Master Ming, we can buy a bunch of flowers and place them in the courtyard of the hospital. Then you can confess to Guan Xian in front of everyone. How romantic would that be? When Guan Xian is touched, she might give you a chance." "Oh? Will that work?" Kang Xiaoming listened to Wang Shubin's plan and felt that it was feasible. He couldn't help but feel moved. Chapter 853. Chapter 852, Rich Xiaoka. "You're right." Kang Mingming nodded. "Now that you mention it, I think so too. In those dramas, a lot of them use a sea of flowers to woo someone." However, Kang Mingming and Wang Shubing had neglected one important point, and that was the relationship between the male and female lead in dramas. It was completely different from his relationship with Guan Xian. The male lead used a sea of flowers to woo someone, but it was built on the premise that the female lead already had feelings for him. It was just that the two of them had misunderstandings or conflicts, or maybe it was just a layer of paper window that wasn't broken. That was why the sea of flowers had such a powerful effect. But the problem now was that Guan Xian didn't like Kang Mingming at all, and she didn't have any feelings for Kang Mingming. How could she fall in love with Kang Mingming just because of the sea of flowers? If it was Lin Yi doing this, Guan Xian might have gladly accepted. "Then should we go back and contact the florist?" Wang Shubing saw that Kang Mingming had agreed, so he asked. "Go back for what? Can't we just buy the flowers here? It's better to do this as soon as possible." Kang Mingming was in a hurry, and he didn't want to wait any longer. "Okay, then we'll buy it now." Wang Shubing nodded and pushed Kang Mingming out of the hospital. He saw Yushioka selling flowers with the children from the orphanage. Ha! Isn't there someone selling flowers here? Kang Mingming's eyes lit up when he saw Yushioka. What a pretty girl! But she looked familiar, as if he had seen her somewhere before. However, he had to pursue Guan Xian, and he couldn't afford to cause any trouble. Otherwise, he would have gone after the little girls selling flowers. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhang also felt that Yushioka looked familiar, but they didn't know where they had seen her before. However, he didn't pay much attention to it. He thought that she sold flowers at the entrance of the hospital every day, and he saw her every day when he went in and out. However, it was no wonder that Yushioka was wearing a nurse's white coat. It was a completely different image from the one she was selling flowers right now. That was why Kang Zhaoming, Zhu Xiaozhang, and Wang Shubing didn't recognize her as the nurse who tricked them and sent them to the morgue. However, Kang Mingming, Wang Shubin, and Zhu Xiaozhang didn't recognize Xiaoka, but she did. As a qualified cat burglar, Xiaoka's eyesight was quite good. She recognized the 3 fat sheep with one look, but when she saw them walking towards her, she felt a little guilty. Could it be that the 3 of them recognized him? Xiaoka was a little worried, but thinking that she was just messing with them, they wouldn't know that she was the one who stole their wallets. She calmed down and pretended not to know them. Hey, how much are your flowers? We want to buy more. Do you have any left? Zhu Xiaozhang's tone was arrogant, but the more he acted like this, the more people would treat him as a fat sheep. Yes, I have as many as you want. But what flowers do you want to buy? Xiaoka's eyes brightened. She knew that the 3 idiots were going to give her money. We want roses. How many do you have? The ones you have aren't enough for anything, Zhu Xiaozhang said impatiently. Roses are 3 yuan each. I have as many as you want. If you don't have enough, you can plant them now, Xiaoka said. Zhu Xiaozhang felt that Xiaoka wasn't reliable after hearing her bullsh**. He wanted to ask the flower shop nearby, but he heard Kang Mingming say something. Ha, your words are quite interesting. Kang Mingming laughed. Then I'll buy them from you. I want to buy 10,000 roses and put them in the hospital yard. It'll be a sea of flowers for an hour. Is that okay? Sure, but you have to give me a deposit first. Xiaoka was overjoyed. She didn't expect to meet an idiot like this on her first day of selling flowers. He didn't even ask for the price and ordered 10,000 roses. 3 kwai was only the retail price of a single rose. She could buy 10 of them at a cheaper price, and she could even get the packaging for free. Deposit is not a problem, but I can't give you much. 10,000. I'll give you the rest after you get the flowers, Kang Laoming said. In his eyes, 10,000 kwai wasn't much, not to mention that he had just gotten some money from Sihuo. He was quite generous. Xiaoka almost laughed out loud after hearing Kang Mingming's words. 10,000. 10,000 roses didn't even cost 10,000 RMB. Currently, the price of roses in Songshan City's flower wholesale market was 50 cents, but if the quantity was large, it could be lowered to 30 cents. So only 3,000 RMB was enough. This idiot gave her 10,000 at once. What a great deal! Xiaoka estimated that she could give them 80 cents if they bargained, but these 3 didn't seem to know the market at all. They didn't bargain and even gave her 10,000 as a deposit. Of course, Xiaoka couldn't show it. She said calmly, Okay, give me the deposit and I'll send the flowers to you. Kang Mingming and the others didn't expect that they could bargain with the price of the flowers. After all, they saw that Xiaoka was a street flower seller, and she didn't earn much from 1 flower. Plus, it was only a few kwai. Even Kang Mingming felt that it was beneath him to bargain. He was the second young master of House Kang. How could he argue with a few street flower sellers? If word got out, wouldn't people laugh their heads off? Kang Mingming sent Zhu Xiaozhang to a nearby ATM to withdraw 10,000 and gave it to Xiaoka. Here's the deposit. If you do well, there's a reward. To Kang Zhaoming, 30 or 20,000 wasn't much, so he promised Xiaoka that if she did a good job, there would be a reward. He wanted her to do a good job for him. Xiaoka's eyes lit up when she heard that there was a reward. She gave Kang Mingming some ideas. Boss, who are you welcoming? Is it your girlfriend? Yes, it's my girlfriend. I want to confess to her. Kang Mingming was overjoyed when he heard that Guan Xin was his girlfriend. He was in a great mood. He nodded. Why? Is there something? If you're welcoming your girlfriend, do you need me to prepare a sign or something? Xiaoka thought that since she earned so much from him and got a reward, she might as well give him something as well. Chapter 854. The big battle. Xiaoka was speechless. She wanted to give him a sign for free, but this guy wanted to give her money too. There was no reason for Xiaoka to reject it. So he nodded and said, Boss, you are really straightforward. Your girlfriend must be very happy to have a boyfriend like you. Wahahaha, you know me too well. Of course, of course. Kang Mingming thought that was Xiaoka's lucky words. He would definitely be able to win today. He said to Xiaoka, Didn't we agree on 30,000? If you do well today, I'll give you 50,000. But other than the sign, you have to buy me some other things. All right, boss, just say it. Xiaoka thought that she'd met an idiot today. She'd be letting herself down if she didn't rip him off. Go get me some fireworks, a broken guitar, and a megaphone. I want to confess my love. Kang Mingming thought that in movies, other than a sea of flowers, there were fireworks as well, and so he took the chance to bring it up. Kang Mingming was too lazy to buy them himself, and he didn't know where to buy fireworks. He wasn't familiar with Songhan either, so he might as well let Xiaoka do it for him. Xiaoka happily went to buy the things. As a female cat burglar, she'd been to many places in Songhan, and so she knew what was sold and what was available. She sent Ken to the flower market to buy flowers, and another to buy fireworks, and another to the second-hand market to buy a broken guitar and megaphone. Xiaoka herself went to prepare the sign for Kang Mingming. Because there were many people, the division of labor was clear, and so after Xiaoka got the sign from the photocopier, the others also brought the things back, arranging them according to Kang Mingming's requirements. Kang Mingming didn't expect Xiaoka to finish it so quickly. He couldn't contain his joy and gave the remaining 40,000 to Xiaoka without hesitation. Ken and the kids didn't think that Xiaoka would be this good. She just casually negotiated a 50,000 kuai deal. The flowers, the sign, the second-hand guitar, and the amplifier only cost 4,000 kuai in total. They couldn't believe that they had earned 45,000 kuai in just a blink of an eye. Xiaoka took the money and left. She had earned enough here, and if she earned more, people would be jealous of her. Xiaoka knew the rules here, and knew that there were flower shops in this area. In fact, these shops would send people to sell flowers in front of the hospital, and Xiaoka had stolen such a big business from them. How could the flower shop be willing to accept that? If she were to continue doing this tomorrow, these people would definitely cause trouble for Xiaoka. She knew when to retreat and took the money and left. But even so, there were still people who were jealous. The owner of the flower shop nearby looked at Xiaoka with a greedy and hateful gaze. He wasn't happy at all. If it wasn't for Mad Bull Bro telling him that Xiaoka wasn't someone to be messed with, he would have gone up and asked for a share. Seeing Xiaoka leave, the flower shop owner walked over and found Kang Mingming. Boss, I'm from Tianao Flower Shop. Do you need any more flowers? I have them here, and they're very complete. We're done, what else do you want? Kang Mingming was excitedly preparing to confess to Guan Xin, and this flower shop owner came over to talk to him. It pissed him off. Go away, don't get in the way. The flower shop owner could only back off. Then you can come to me next time, I can give you a discount. Alright, I got it. Kang Mingming waved his hand and said impatiently. Get the F***ck out. Guan Xin was only a nurse in the Songhan First Hospital, but there were many people who knew her. The prettiest girl in the Songhan First Hospital was definitely Guan Xin, so whether they talked to her or not, they'd all heard of her name. Now that Kang Mingming had put up the sign, Guan Xin, I love you, many people saw it and stopped to look, trying to guess who Kang Mingming was. Could this guy in the wheelchair be Guan Xian's boyfriend? Guan Xian, on the other hand, got the news very quickly. Those who knew Guan Xian told her about the situation at the hospital entrance. Xian, I have big news for you. There's a sea of roses outside our hospital, and they're preparing to confess. That's quite romantic. He's really rich, Li Xiaomei said enviously. Oh. Guan Xian only smiled faintly. What does that have to do with me? How does it have nothing to do with you? That person even put up a sign, Guan Xian, I love you. It's obviously for you. It's already spread in our hospital, Li Xiaomei said. I just went to the ward and the doctor there told me. Huh? Me? Guan Xian's eyes widened at Li Xiaomei's words. She looked at her in disbelief. Really? Are you talking about me? Yes. Li Xiaomei nodded. It's really you. Who? Who would do that? Was it Lin Yi? Guan Xian subconsciously thought of Lin Yi, but when she thought of Lin Yi, she shook her head and blamed herself. It couldn't be Lin Yi. Why would he confess to her? He was really indulging in fantasies. Guan Xian lost interest once she remembered that the person wasn't Lin Yi. There wasn't any excitement on her face. Who's so bored? Ah? Xian, aren't you moved at all after hearing this explosive news? You don't even want to go out and see who did it? Li Xiaomei asked curiously. No. Guan Xian shook her head. What's there to see? It's probably Kong Mingming, that boring person. Ah, now that you mention it, it's possible. Li Xiaomei lost interest when she heard the name. She didn't have any feelings for Kong Mingming, and she also knew Xiaofen through Guan Xian. She knew that Xiaofen was harmed by Kong Mingming, so she didn't have a good impression of Kong Mingming, and now her impression of him was even worse. So, let's get back to work. Guan Xian started to get busy again. After work, Guan Xian and Li Xiaomei walked out of the hospital together. Wang Shubin, who was in charge of investigating at the hospital, saw Guan Xian and immediately sent a signal to Kong Mingming and Zhu Xiaohong. Chapter 855. The greedy florist Guan Xian thought that Kong Xiaoming would be in a hurry to leave after waiting for so long, but she didn't expect to be startled by the fireworks as soon as she stepped out of the door. Kong Xiaoming's sudden voice startled her. Before Guan Xian could react, Kong Xiaoming started singing. There's a girl in the hospital called Xian. She's pretty and kind. She has a pair of big beautiful eyes, and her braids are thick and long. Kong Mingming played the guitar and sang, giving off the vibe of a passionate prince. It was just that his voice was terrible, like a frog croaking. Not only did it scare Guan Xian, it also made the onlookers frown. Xiaomei, let's go! Ignore him! Guan Xian hadn't been in a situation like this before. She was truly frightened by Kong Mingming. Kong Mingming panicked when he saw that Guan Xian was about to leave. He didn't care about singing anymore and went straight into his confession. Xian, you're the goddess in my heart. You're the electricity, you're the light, you're the legend, I only love you. Where are you guys from? Flammable items aren't allowed in the hospital, and fireworks aren't allowed. Plus, you've already disturbed the patients by shouting with a megaphone. Come with us to the police room for your punishment. Just as Kong Xiaoming was making a fuss, the police in the hospital's duty room received a report and ran over, surrounding Kong Xiaoming in an instant. Ah? Kong Mingming didn't think he'd attract the police. Is it illegal for me to pick up girls? It's not illegal for you to pick up girls, but what you're doing is against the hospital's rules. Come back with us. 2 police officers took Kong Mingming away. Everyone had gathered around to watch the drama, but before Kong Xiaoming could finish his confession, he was taken away by the police. Soon everyone dispersed. Guan Xian breathed a sigh of relief. This Kong Mingming really was annoying. She didn't know what to do with him. Guan Xian didn't lack suitors in the past, but this was the first time she'd made such a big fuss. Pho! Guan Xian let out a long sigh of relief. She decided that the next time she saw Kang Mingming, she'd have a good talk with him. There was no hope between them, so he shouldn't waste his time. This person is really unlucky. He was arrested by the police on duty in the hospital before he could finish his confession. Li Xiaomei curled her lips, feeling a little funny. Thank God he was taken, or I wouldn't know how to deal with him. Guan Xian shook her head as she quickly followed Li Xiaomei to where the hospital bus was parked. Kang Mingming was in the hospital's police office. He wrote a letter of guarantee, paid a small fine, and was released. After all, he didn't do anything too serious. The police criticized and educated him before letting him go. Kang Mingming didn't listen to a single word. He was secretly worried and quickly maneuvered his wheelchair out of the police office. He saw Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubing waiting at the entrance. Where's Guan Xian? How is she? Kang Mingming asked anxiously. She left a long time ago, Wang Shubing said helplessly. Master Ming, you weren't there, so we couldn't stop Guan Xian from leaving. When she left, what was her expression like? Was she happy? Kang Mingming asked. No, she looked angry, Wang Shubing said carefully. Mother ***, we made such a big scene for nothing, Kang Mingming said unhappily. How can this hospital be so lenient? The three of them left the hospital together. The sea of flowers in front of the hospital had already been removed, and the guitar and amplifier were nowhere to be seen. However, Kang Xiaoming didn't really care about these things. Right now, he was thinking about how to get Guan Xian. It seemed that his confession was a complete failure. He just didn't know if he was angry because Guan Xian didn't like him, or was he angry because his confession was ruined? The owner of the flower shop in front of the hospital was rich. Kang Mingming was arrested. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhang were also gone. The 10,000 roses in front of the door were now ownerless. The owner of the flower shop quickly called a few workers to collect all the roses and put them in her cellar. The owner picked up a big bargain, but not only was he not satisfied, he was still planning to sell the flowers to Kang Mingming tomorrow. He waited at the hospital entrance and saw Kang Mingming and the other two walk over. He quickly greeted them with a smile. Three bosses, do you still want to buy flowers? I have some cheap roses here, guaranteed to be cheap. Do you still want them tomorrow? What the ****? Kang Mingming glared at the flower shop owner. Still want to buy? Still want to make a fool of himself tomorrow? Boss, didn't you fail today? Don't you want to continue tomorrow? The owner paused and was a little unwilling. He saw that Yushiko was earning money, so he was extremely jealous. Now he picked up 10,000 roses and wanted to sell them to Kang Mingming. It would have been better if the owner didn't mention it, but once he mentioned the failed confession, Kang Mingming was furious. He really touched his sore spot. He was so angry that he pointed at the flower shop owner and ordered Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubing. Beat him up! Mother ***, don't be so noisy in front of me! As the saying goes, a man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. This owner was such a person. He obviously picked up 10,000 roses, but he still wasn't satisfied. He wanted to sell the 10,000 roses to Kang Mingming. In the end, he was beaten up by Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhang. They beat the owner until he lost his temper. Although the owner had some background and knew the boss of this area, Mad Bull Bro, he saw that Kang Xiaoming and the other two were driving a Porsche Cayenne. One look and he could tell that they were rich people. He could only cry and beg for mercy. Kang Mingming's war of courtship ended in a farce. Guan Xian wasn't moved at all, making Kang Mingming waste 50,000 yuan. However, Kang Mingming didn't give up. The next afternoon, when it was almost time to get off work, he, Wang Shubing, and Zhu Xiaozhang squatted in front of the First People's Hospital, waiting for Guan Xian to get off work. Based on the current situation, what should I do? Kang Xiaoming sighed helplessly. He had accepted the mission his family gave him with full confidence. He thought that he could complete it perfectly, but who would have thought that Guan Xian would be so hard to deal with? Guan Xian wasn't moved no matter what he did. Logically speaking, his family background was similar to Guan Xian's, so they were considered a match. Why wasn't Guan Xian moved? Chapter 856. Guan Xian's father. Yesterday was a good opportunity. If we continued, Guan Xian might really be moved and give you a chance. But yesterday's plan failed. We can't use the same plan a second time. Even if we use it, it won't have any effect. So I think we should change our strategy. Aren't you talking nonsense? I know that too. Kang Zhaoming wasn't in a good mood. What I want right now is a practical solution, not a theoretical analysis like yours. I don't have much time left, do you know that? The situation right now is that my family is really pressuring me. If I really can't get the formula this time, my position in the Kang family will plummet. You two idiots won't be able to be as powerful without my support. This. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaoang heard Kang Mingming's words and realized that things weren't as simple as they seemed. Indeed, if Kang Mingming wasn't popular in the Kang family, then the two of them wouldn't be able to call the shots like they were now. Thinking of this, Wang Shubing took a deep breath and began to think of a countermeasure. Kang Mingming saw that he was thinking and didn't disturb him. Among them, only Wang Shubing could be considered the brains, so everything depended on him. I got it! Wang Shubing suddenly had an idea. Master Ming, all the signs show that Guan Xian is a good girl. This type of girl listens to her family. So, if we directly propose to the Guan family, there should be some hope. Think about it, you are the grandson of Dr. Kang, and Guan Xian is the granddaughter of Miracle Dr. Guan. You two are a strong combination. I think Guan Xiaoming wouldn't object, right? Your idea might work, but you have to understand that I'm not looking for Guan Xian to marry her. I'm just trying to get Guan Xian's recipe from her. If I can have some fun, then I'll do it. It's fine if I can't, but marriage is out of the question, Kang Laoming said. How can I get married if I get the recipe out of her? Plus, even if it's a fake marriage, my grandfather has to step in. I can't be stupid enough to ask for Guan Xiaoming's hand. Do you think Guan Xiaoming will believe him? This? Wang Shubing hesitated. Master Ming, why don't you pay her a visit and tell her that you just want to get to know her better? Although it's not a formal proposal, it's still a hint. I'm sure Xiaoming won't reject it too much. Wouldn't it be perfectly justifiable for you to approach Guan Xian? That makes sense. Kang Laoming nodded. But I'm not familiar with him. I've never met him before. What if he objects to it? I think you're not asking for her hand in marriage, Master Ming. You're just asking to be friends with Guan Xian. I don't think Guan Xiaoming would reject you out of respect, would he? As long as he doesn't refuse, we can do it. Wang Shubin continued. Of course, if Guan Xiaoming strongly disagrees, even if you're with Guan Xian, he will still find a way to separate you two. He won't easily give the recipe to Guan Xian. That's true. The key was the attitude of the Guan family. Then should we pay a visit to Guan Xiaoming? Kang Mingming nodded. I'll have to discuss this with my family. We can't go empty-handed. We have to bring some gifts. As the three of them were talking, it was time for the hospital to get off work. Guan Xian and Li Xiaomei walked out of the hospital. When they were about to reach the entrance, Guan Xian said to Li Xiaomei, Xiaomei, you can take the commuter car today. I have other things to do. Oh, you have a date? Li Xiaomei paused. She smiled mischievously at Guan Xian. Don't tell me it's with that Kang Mingming? How is that possible? Guan Xian glared at her. Even if you beat me to death, I would never go on a date with him. Don't make wild guesses. My dad came to Songhan for business. He's here to pick me up. Haha, I see. Li Xiaomei nodded. Isn't that the legendary major shareholder? Shouldn't the dean come out to greet him? My dad is just passing by. He didn't come to the hospital for an inspection. Why would he notify the dean? Guan Xian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. All right, I'll be going first. Guan Xian ran towards the Audi A6L parked in front of the hospital. The car was quietly parked not far from the entrance. It didn't enter the hospital, so no one noticed that it was Guan Xiaoxiang's car. Young Master Ming, Guan Xian is here. Wang Shubing saw Guan Xian and reminded Kong Ming. Oh? She's not taking the commuter car? Kong Ming paused. His original plan was to wait for Guan Xian to get on the commuter car. Then, the three of them would silently follow behind. Once Guan Xian was home, they would pay her a visit. He didn't expect Guan Xian to not get on the commuter car. Did she have something else to do today? No. Eh? Young Master Ming, she got on the Audi A6L. It's a Songjiang license plate. Zhu Xiaozhong pointed in the direction Guan Xian ran to. Songjiang license plate? Could it be that Guan Xian went to meet her lover? Kong Ming's face immediately darkened. The driver of the black Audi A6L was most likely a man. Judging from the light in the car when Guan Xian opened the door, the driver should be a man. I don't think so. That man seems to be quite old. Zhu Xuzhong's eyes were sharp, and he quickly said, Could it be that he's a prostitute? It would have been better if Zhu Xiaozhong didn't mention it. Kong Zhaoming's face darkened. Go and find out who this car belongs to. Oh, I'm so mad. Kong Ming felt like he was being humiliated. He originally thought that Guan Xian didn't accept his confession because she was too pure. She was like a blank sheet of paper. She had never been in a relationship before, so she was subconsciously on guard. But now, it didn't seem to be the case. Zhu Xiaozhong and Wang Shubing didn't have much of a relationship in Songshan. However, in Dahai City, they relied on Kong Ming to know a lot of people. They made a phone call and got the information of the car from a friend who worked in the insurance business. Young Master Ming, this car belongs to Mingyang Pharmaceutical Company, Ltd. Zhu Xiaoang told the result to Kong Ming. Mingyang Pharmaceutical Company, Ltd? Why does this name sound so familiar? Kong Ming frowned and muttered the name. Chapter 857. Kong Ming's Visit. Yes, that's right. Kong Ming also remembered after Wang Shubing's reminder. So, that man just now could be Guan Xian's father? It should be, or else he would be her father's driver. Wang Shubing nodded. Master Ming, I suddenly thought of something. If you visit Guan Xian's father, Guan Xiaoxiang, it might be more effective than visiting Guan Xueming. Oh? Why do you say that? Kong Ming quickly asked. Master Ming, your Dr. Kang's medical company, doesn't it work with a lot of hospitals? The first People's Hospital and the second People's Hospital are the same. Isn't that Guan Xian's father's company? Zhu Xiaozhang interrupted. If that's the case, then Guan Xiaoxiang won't defend you openly because of his business relationship with the Kong family. As long as he agrees for you to interact with Guan Xian, then you'll have achieved your goal. That makes sense. Let's go. Get in the car, we'll follow them and see where they're going. Kong Ming nodded. Guan Xiaoxiang hadn't learned reconnaissance or anti-reconnaissance, so he didn't notice that a Porsche Cayenne was slowly following behind him. He was still chatting with Guan Xian. Xian, are you busy with work? Are you tired? It's alright. Sometimes it's a little tiring, but I like this job. Guan Xian nodded. If you're tired, then come to Dad's company. You can't be a nurse forever, right? Guan Xiaoxiang smiled. He always wanted Guan Xian to come to his company, but Guan Xian didn't agree. No, I want to stay here with Grandpa. Guan Xian shook her head. Guan Xiaoxiang sighed and didn't bring up the topic again. He changed the topic. How's your health? Not bad. Grandpa's been in a good mood because of the company. Guan Xian said. Company? You have to keep an eye on your grandfather for me. He has never done business in his entire life. Don't let him get cheated, or he will lose his reputation. When Guan Xiaoxiang heard about his father starting a company, he was a little displeased. When he first started his business, he wanted to use his father's name as a springboard to achieve some results. Especially that Lin Yi. He's so young, But I don't know what kind of talent he has for your grandfather to praise him so much. However, after he expressed his thoughts, he was sternly rejected by his father. He said that he was afraid that he would be cheated by his friend and that it would affect his reputation. Fortunately, he had the help of a benefactor, so he was able to expand his business. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to marry his girlfriend, Guan Xian's mother. Guan Xian's mother's family was against it. Therefore, every time he thought about this incident, Guan Shixiang always felt like there was a thorn in his heart. Even though it had been a long time since the incident, there was still some estrangement between the father and son. Even though they cared for each other, they were not very close. No, Linny is a good person. He wouldn't lie to Grandpa. Guan Xian subconsciously defended Linny when she heard her father's words. However, as soon as she opened her mouth, she felt that she was a little too impatient and blushed. Looking at his daughter's face, Guan Xiaoxiang suddenly frowned. Could it be that his daughter had fallen for Linny? Guan Xiaoxiang didn't continue on this topic. The car slowly drove into Songshan Medical University. Guan Xiaoxiang parked the car in front of his father's villa. Even though the father and son's relationship wasn't very harmonious, Guan Xiaoxiang would still go home to visit Guan Xiaomin every time he came back to work. Guan Xiaomin's relationship with his son had been like this for the past few years. Now, he was used to it. When he saw his son return, he nodded and didn't say anything. He went back to his study and continued with his work. On the other hand, Guan Xiaoxiang sat on the sofa in the living room and chatted with Guan Xian about the hospital. Kang Mingming followed Guan Xiaoxiang's car all the way to the entrance of Guan Xiaomin's villa. In order to pursue Guan Xian, he bought a fake medical university pass so that he could enter and exit the family area. Master Ming, it looks like that person is Guan Xian's father. If he was a driver, he wouldn't be able to enter the villa. Should we go visit him tonight? Wang Shubin asked. Yes, we'll go buy some gifts first, then we'll visit him. Kang Mingming confirmed that the person was Guan Xian's father, Guan Xiaoxiang. He was relieved. Kang Zhaoming carried some famous cigarettes and wine as Wang Shubin pushed him to the front of the villa. He rang the doorbell of Guan Xiaomin's house. Zhu Xiaozhang was arranged to stay in the car. With his personality, it wasn't appropriate to bring him in. Mother Lu opened the door and saw Kang Mingming in a wheelchair and Wang Shubin pushing him. She was surprised and asked, "Excuse me, are you here to see Professor Guan?" "No, this young master, I'm Kang Zhaoming, the second grandson of Miracle Dr. Kang of Donghai. I'm here to pay a visit to Guan Xiaoxiang," Kang Zhaoming replied. "Oh, wait a moment, I'll ask for you." Mother Lu nodded. She didn't open the iron gate outside but turned around and went back into the living room. "Mother Lu, who's here?" Guan Xiaoxiang saw that Mother Lu didn't bring anyone in and asked curiously. "Mr. Guan, there's someone who claims to be Donghai Dr. Kang's second grandson, Kang Mingming. He wants to visit you, what do you think?" Mother Lu said. "Oh? Someone from the Kang family?" Guan Xiaoxiang was surprised and said, "I'll go take a look." Guan Xian's expression changed. She didn't think that Kang Mingming would have the guts to visit. What was he planning? She wanted to tell her father not to go, but her father had already stood up. She stopped herself and thought, let him come in and explain things to him. Guan Xiaoxiang and Mother Lu came to the door and saw Kang Mingming in a wheelchair. He was shocked. He had never seen Kang Mingming before, but he didn't think that Kang Mingming would come in a wheelchair. He couldn't help but ask, "You're Kang Mingming? What happened to you?" "Uncle Guan, hello, I'm Kang Mingming." Kang Mingming saw that Guan Xiaoxiang came to greet him and quickly said, "I was hit by something 2 days ago. It's not a big deal, it's just a normal bone fracture. It'll heal soon." "Oh." Guan Xiaoxiang didn't ask too much. He opened the iron gate and let Kang Mingming and Wang Shubin into the mansion. "Kang Mingming. You don't mind me calling you that, right?" It's fine. "Uncle Guan, you can call me Zhao Ming," Kang Mingming said respectfully. He wanted to leave a good impression in front of Guan Xiaoxiang, so he naturally pretended to be a good young man. Guan Xiaoxiang nodded. Kang Mingming, are you here to visit me? What business do you have with me? Are you here to represent your grandfather, or… Chapter 858. Guan Xian is engaged. Okay, please come in. Even though Guan Xiaoxiang didn't know the purpose of Kang Mingming's visit, he was still a member of Dong Hai's Kang family. They were in the same line of business, and his company had many collaborations with the Kang family. He didn't want to neglect Kang Mingming. After entering the study, Guan Xiaoxiang sat on the sofa. Kang Mingming was in a wheelchair, so Guan Xiaoxiang didn't bother with pleasantries. He looked at Wang Shubin and asked, "This is… Uncle Guan, don't worry about him. He's my friend. Just let him stand here." Kang Mingming waved his hand. "Okay then, why are you here?" Guan Xiaoxiang really didn't know why Kang Mingming was here, and why was he here to visit him. How did he know that he would come to his father's place tonight? Even though he was confused, he didn't show it on his face. He wanted to hear what Kang Mingming had to say. "Uncle Guan, I'm here to visit you because… I'm a little embarrassed." Kang Mingming pretended to be simple and honest as he scratched his head. "I'm not here on behalf of my grandfather, nor on behalf of Dr. Kang's medical company. I'm here for myself." "Oh?" Guan Xiaoxiang frowned slightly, but he only made a sound of confusion. He didn't ask any more questions. He. "Uncle Guan, I'm sorry to disturb you, but I have my own difficulties." Kang Mingming was a little embarrassed. "A while ago, my leg was broken. When I was in the hospital, it was Miss Guan's meticulous care that allowed me to get out of the hospital so early. Miss Guan's gentleness, beauty, and generosity deeply touched me. As the saying goes, a gentleman seeks a fair lady. I really admire Miss Guan, and I want to be friends with her. I hope Uncle Guan won't object." "A fair lady seeks a fair lady? You mean you want to be friends with Guan Xian?" Guan Xiaoxiang's frown deepened. "Haha, you're right, Uncle Guan, but I'm not saying that I'm going to be friends with Guan Xian right away. I just hope that you can give me a chance. If it doesn't work out, I'll leave quietly." Kang Mingming tried his best to make himself look pitiful. He just wanted a chance. With that, and the partnership between the two families, Guan Xiaoxiang would definitely give him face. After he finished speaking, he was waiting for Guan Xiaoxiang to agree, but he didn't expect to be rejected. "I'm sorry, but I can't agree to your request." After Guan Xiaoxiang heard Kang Mingming's words, he rejected his suggestion without hesitation. He didn't give him any face at all. Even though Kang Mingming's words were straightforward, he was polite and honest. It made people think that he didn't have any bad intentions. This was something that he had discussed with Wang Shubin. In front of people like Guan Xiaoxiang, the more smooth he acted, the more he wouldn't be liked. So Kang Mingming pretended to be honest. He didn't expect Guan Xiaoxiang to reject him directly. This made Kang Ming dumbfounded. Kang Mingming couldn't accept it. Why? He said it so well, he just wanted a chance, he didn't want to be with Guan Xian. Why? Thinking about this, Kang Mingming was a little angry. But in order to not anger Guan Xiaoxiang, he suppressed his anger and asked, "Uncle Guan, why? Guan Xian isn't young anymore, right? She's at the age to talk about marriage. And me, did I do something to displease you? Please don't hesitate to mention it. If possible, I will change them all. This has nothing to do with you." Guan Xiaoxiang waved his hand. "Logically speaking, you are Elder Kang's grandson, my junior. I should be able to give you this chance, but I can't." "Why?" "Because Xian has been engaged since she was young. It's the kind of arranged marriage. This has nothing to do with whether I'm satisfied with you or not. Guan Xian already has a fiancé, how can I let her date you? This is completely unrealistic." "Already has a fiancé?" Kang Mingming's face turned green. He originally thought that Guan Xiaoxiang had heard of his bad reputation, that's why he rejected him. He didn't think that it was because of this reason. If it was his problem, Kang Mingming had the confidence to solve it. But it was Guan Xian's problem. How could he solve it? Guan Xiaoxiang had already told him clearly that Guan Xian already had a fiancée. No matter how hard he tried, it would be useless. Guan Xiaoxiang and Guan Xiaoxiang had already excluded him. No matter what he said, he wouldn't be able to change Guan Xiaoxiang's mind. Kang Mingming didn't think that Guan Xiaoxiang was lying to him on purpose. There was no need to lie about this kind of thing. With Guan Xiaoxiang's status, he didn't need to find an excuse to beat around the bush. House Kang wasn't a noble house yet. It was normal for Guan Xiaoxiang to not give him face. So Guan Xiaoxiang's words convinced Kang Mingming, and made him completely give up. She already has a fiancé. No matter what, there was no way Guan Xian could be with him. Kang Mingming sighed and said helplessly, "If that's the case, then I'll have to bother Uncle Guan." "Kang Mingming, you are Elder Kang's grandson. You were born in a medical family. You are also very outstanding. Don't you have to hang yourself for this tree? Xian is already engaged. This can't be changed. I hope you can get over it." Guan Xiaoxiang tried to persuade him. After all, Kang Mingming was Dr. Kang's grandson. Guan Xiaoxiang would still give him some face. Kang Xiaoming listened to Guan Xiaoxiang's comforting words, and believed them even more. However, the evil thoughts in his mind suddenly sprouted, and his eyes lit up. He pretended to be curious. "I heard that Guan Xian is quite close with someone called Lin Yi. Could he be Guan Xian's fiancé?" Kang Mingming knew that Lin Yi couldn't be Guan Xian's fiancé, but he purposely said it to sow discord. "Oh? Lin Yi?" Guan Xiaoxiang's face was a little displeased. "Lin Yi again? Was there really something between Guan Xian and Lin Yi?" However, in front of Kang Mingming, Guan Xiaoxiang naturally wouldn't say anything about his daughter. He only said indifferently, "You don't have to worry about that." Kang Mingming laughed coldly in his heart. Lin Yi, that's what you get for offending me. If I can't get a girl, don't even think about it. Humph. He didn't show it on his face. "All right, Uncle Guan. If that's the case, then I'll take my leave. Then I won't be sending you off. Take care." Guan Xiaoxiang knew why Kang Mingming was here, so he didn't want to have anything to do with him. You're tuning into the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.